Hello, Hearthstone fans, and welcome to the GamerSensei's weekly Wednesday 100 exhibition tournament. I'm Astrogation, and I'm joined by FKI Shadow, and we bring you a nice day of Hearthstone action.
Hey guys, hey again. It's been a long time. It's been like
Yeah,
4 weeks, I think.
yeah, it's been a while since our last event together, but I'm excited to be back, and we're gonna be better than ever.
Let's hope so. With a new format this time, I'm really excited to check it out. Strike format.
Oh yeah, strike format. It's it hasn't been an official Blizzard format yet, but it's a great idea. So basically, what it's going to come down to today is players are going to be bringing three decks, and instead of banning a class, both players are going to ban two matchups. So if you bring three classes, right? Both players bring three classes. 3 times 3 is 9, so there's a possible of 9 possible matchups. Both players will ban two of them, and they're left with 5 matchups, and then they'll play a best of 5 with those 5 matchups.
And I really like it. I think it's really strategic, and a lot of people blame Conquest that it doesn't matter the order of the classes you play. It's like a coin toss. It doesn't matter. Just pick a class. But in this format, it's really important. The banning process is really important. What matchups you don't want to play, and I think it's a quite nice idea from RDU. I think so. I'm not 100%. It's probably his idea. So we're going to test it out to see how it goes. We are not sure if we're going to keep doing tournaments on strike format, but it's definitely something new. I hope people will like it. What's your idea behind it? Do you like it or?
I personally think, I like anything that adds a little bit more depth, just so that from the player's perspective, it adds a little bit more of a skill element. So in that sense, I do like it. Let's go ahead and take a look at our brackets. We have 4 of our amazing GamerSensei coaches here today. It's going to be Death Star versus Cursed as our first matchup, and then Rosti versus Hotmouth. And they're going to be playing for a winner-take-all $100 prize pool.
Yeah, and we have some new faces, some old faces. Death Star is the last winner, of course. When I told him, "Will you be here for this tournament?" He said, "I've got to take my crown again," and he said, "I've got to be there, guys." And he's the defending champion. We have Rosti, which he hasn't got a win yet. I told him, like, man, just try to win for once. He's like, I'm gonna give my best this time. Hotmouth, of course. And we have our new guy, Kirst.
Here comes
Kirst,
a new challenger.
Right? A new challenger.
I do know Kirst. I've known him for a while. I do think that I remember back maybe like a year, maybe about a year ago, he got very famous for his aggro druid with the Fell Reavers, right? And so I think that's when I first heard about him. But now, he's going to be joining our superb lineup of other GamerSensei coaches. I haven't seen him play yet, so it'll be very interesting to cast his games.
And just to explain the format a bit more, the bans are already been done by the players. We're going to see the banning screen in a bit. And, okay, there it is. And actually, we have our first game picked up. It's going to be Shaman versus Warrior. Kirst going with Warrior against Death Star Shaman. And as you see, we're going to see all the classes if it goes to best of 5. It's not like Conquest when you ban a class, you never see it. We're going to see all the classes if it goes there, but not certain matchups. So after the game, after someone wins, the loser decides the next matchup. For example, Shaman versus Mage or whatever a guy chooses. And then we proceed like that. The loser decides the next matchup. But I think, can we analyze the bans a bit? Maybe we try to figure out what decks they play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually not that familiar. I mean, Strike is a very new format, so there's actually a lot of room to get an edge in theory crafting. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I imagine what you do is like you have a few matchups that are unfavored that you don't want to play and you just ban those out. For example, we see the Shaman versus Warlock band, right? Maybe Death Star's playing Arena Lock, doesn't want to play against Aggro Shaman. That's like very reasonable. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to figure out what the players are thinking because this format is so new and it's not really most of the theory is not common knowledge yet.
Yeah, let me help a bit. So Death Star banned Warrior Warlock. He banned the Warrior Warlock. Mm-hmm. So as a Warlock, he didn't want to play against Warrior. Why is that? What do you think?
I mean, Reno Lock versus Pirate Warrior. You just want to. The thing is, he probably built his Reno Lock very greedy. He probably built the Reno Lock to beat control decks. So he cut the anti-aggro cards, made it greedier, so he can ban the aggro matchups. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
It makes sense. And the next ban was Shaman against Warlock. So maybe it's what you said. He expects two aggressive lists from Cursed, and his Warlock should be a really greedy version. That's why he's afraid of the Shaman and the Warrior, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then of course we see Cursed of banning the Rogue versus Shaman, right? Like you being Rogue, you want to also ban the aggro decks because Rogue is weak to like Pirate Warrior, weak to aggro Shamans. You bring Rogue, you ban the Shaman. Also, with his Warrior, wants to ban the Mage, probably because he doesn't want to face Reno Mage, right? I mean, we do know that Death Star is, a Reno Mage has actually been really popular recently, and Death Star is definitely a strong Reno Mage player. So Pirate Warrior can kind of they have this problem where the Mage sets up an ice block, right? You can't kill them, and then they Reno it off, and then you just can't win. So.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. When I saw the classes at the start, I expected a lot more Shaman bans, but okay, we saw two. I mean, I am happy. Would you ever ban the Rogue versus Warlock from any side?
No. Rogue is heavily. You bring Rogue in order to beat Reno Lock.
No, that's what I mean. As a Reno Lock, would you ban Rogue?
Oh, as a Reno Lock, would you ban Rogue? But if you build it greedy and you want it, you're probably weak to Rogue. It's hard to say. The thing is, like, it's you kind of have to like have foresight on your opponent's lineup, and it's kind of hard to do that sometimes, especially in a new meta. But we are actually ready to start the game, so let's go ahead and jump into that soon.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
It's going to be Cursed versus Death Star as the first match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a moment. We're gonna start the game really soon. I think the players just realizing again they have some difficulties to the format too. I think Cursed is more experienced. Death Star, it's probably his first time. I think. One other thing, aren't you surprised that Death Star didn't bring a Hunter? Like,
I want to say I'm surprised, but Hunter's not in a good spot right now. Hunter is probably the worst class at the moment. So, I mean, Death Star recognizes that. The last time he did bring Hunter to the NRG qualifier, but he brought a very weird list, and he probably thought that list wasn't good at the moment. So, yeah, in order to have success with Hunter, you have to do something really weird, and I think bringing it is definitely like a huge risk.
And we start. There it is. Shaman versus Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Pirate. Yeah, I mean, I expected a Pirate as well. Did you expect a Pirate or a Dragon Pirate?
I'm not exactly sure what I was expecting. I mean, there's definitely merits to both. Like, for example, I think straight up Pirates is a little bit better against classes like Reno. But if you bring the Dragon version, you're better against classes like Shaman and Druid. So it's I don't know. I think people are going to have their own preferences.
Mm-hmm. From my experience, I think I really like the Dragon version, but On the last tournament, if you recall, I lost like 3-0 with this deck against Hot Meowth.
Uh,
It was if you don't draw well, you have a lot of problems, and it's a
right.
curve deck, you know. And with Death Star, I think it's the aggro shaman with the deck hand and the Jade synergy,
Hmm.
probably.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. So the nice thing here is that Death Star's gonna go ahead and play a Spirit Claws, and this is gonna allow him to go for Flame Tongue, Coin, Deckhand, and he's immediately gonna have 2 charge minions on both sides of the Flame Tongue, which is insane.
Is it 8 damage, right? So wow, yeah, it's really huge. But now I think Kirst has to play a minion even without the weapon buff. I mean, it's really
Right. It's
unfortunate, but you have to play
definitely
the 2-drop.
definitely correct to just throw out the Blood Cell Raider here. Yeah. So Death Star is going to go ahead and use the combination here. He's going to go ahead and pull out the patches, going to make all the trades here, get an empty board. And this is actually where Shaman wants to be. The Shaman wants to have all the minions dealt with and then have some sort of board presence. And as we see Curse, he's actually run out of minions. He doesn't have anything proactive. Like he can Heroic Strike the Flame Tongue, but then he's been slowed down a lot.
What's your opinion about Warlock's hero power in this matchup? Probably the best?
Yeah, probably the best. I mean, he's going to need to look for some proactive threats. Whereas the Shaman in such a great spot here because they can actually win the game by just hero powering. We do see Death Star. He doesn't have to play anything. He just hero powers because you make hero powers. If you get spell power, it's good. If you get taunt, it's obviously good. Pretty much like, your totems are just going to get you a ton of value.
Probably the healing one is not that good in the aggro version, but yeah, I totally agree. And there it is, a Buccaneer. Just a glimpse of hope, I guess.
Yeah, a glimpse of hope. Cursed finally has... Maybe he gets a chance for this to stick. He actually won't get a chance for it to stick because, as we do see, Death Star has another Flame Tongue and another Deckhand. So, yeah, we're going to see what he does here. It looks like he's thinking about just playing the J-Claw. Nope, he's going to keep hero powering. So, like I said, the hero power, the repetitive hero power is just a lot of value.
I remember when we played with Deathlord, he said, if you aren't sure what to do with a Shaman, just click hero power. I mean, most of the time it works, right? And I think that's what Death Star does, just waits. And, okay, the Frothing Berserker move, a really strong minion against the Shaman class.
Yeah, but look at what Death Star's got. Again, Flame Tongue on the board is so strong for him because he can just charge out a Deckhand at it.
Yeah, and when you lose your Frothing Berserker to a Deckhand, you know that things aren't going well for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, Totem Golem and hero power probably. And again, I think Shaman is really ahead right now.
Yeah, and the hero power value in this matchup is just absolutely insane.
Even if Death Star missed an early Aya, which is pretty good most of the times, he's okay because next turn he can Azure Drake, for example. So in Curse position, what would you do now? What's your goal? Going full face or trying to control the board?
The problem, okay, so right depending on what his hand is, right? If he has all burst, then making sure that he just gets in the face damage is probably his winning line. But in this position, he's got 3 minions and 2 burn spells. With 2 minions in his hand, or with 3 minions in his hand, he's gonna have to be forced to play for a bit of board here, just so that for a chance for his minions to stick. Because theoretically, if Curse can deal with the board and get a Frothing to stick, he can still get that Frothing to hit face for like a lot of damage.
His hand is weird. I mean, he has some combination of face damage and some minions. He will probably still fight for the board. I think that's his best chances right now. But judging by the Shaman hand, I think Death Star is really ahead.
Exactly. All right, so Death Star is going to go ahead and play the Azure Drake. Buffs up his weapon. He's going to be able to clear the Frothing and only take 3 damage as well. So he's actually staying nice here. Like, Curse is starting to run out of gas. I mean, he does have the Warlock hero power, but Death Star going into turn 7 now, he's going to have 23 health, which is at this stage of the game pretty healthy for this matchup.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm just thinking about what I would do in Cursed position, and that Mortal Strike. You have to try to control the board. You have the right hero power for it. I mean, you will
Yeah.
never run out of material, but still, okay. Now, an important decision: Aya and Black and Buccaneer.
I think it's reasonable. Actually, I would like to point out some of Death Star's deck choices, right? So at the we can see there's a lot of aggro. We see the Lava Burst, right? We saw like the deck hands. It's definitely aggro shaman, but it's interesting that he has it's a bit greedy. He has not only Aya, but he also has Azure Drakes and he has a Manatite here. So it's definitely his own interesting take on aggro shaman.
Yeah, true. I mean, Manatide. Yeah, you're right. That's interesting tech choices. I mean, with after casting a lot of Death Star decks and tournament, he's always bringing weird stuff. We should definitely ask him after.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's actually reasonable. The thing is, like, the traditional aggro Jade Shaman can fizzle out, but I don't know about Manatite, but I do think that Azure Drake is a pretty solid tech. The Manatite in that situation, I guess the Manatite just feels like it gets dealt with too easily. And the meta is pretty fast, so.
And I'm not sure about the turn before. Maybe that Lava Burst was a bit of a waste. Not sure. I mean, you get rid of the 3/4, but you don't. You give the opponent a chance to put something on the board. And right now, Cursed really capitalized on that and put everything out. And maybe he has some chances now. What do you think?
He really leveraged his hero power. He was able to get some very cheap tempo going as well. Like he played that Dread Corsair at a discount. He was able to get that Core Crown out. The Core Crown's applying a lot of pressure. So as we talked about earlier, right, Cursed, we talked about how Cursed had a chance to win if he fought for the board. He fought for the board. He ended up somehow taking back board initiative. And I think going into the late game here, he's actually going to be at a lead. He's actually going to, I mean, he's going to ignore the Aya, which is definitely correct. He's going to send all the damage to the face and set up lethal for next turn.
I think the only version that even considers trading on Aya is the Dragon one with Ragnars and stuff like that. If you're an aggressive version, there's no point in trading in Aya, to be honest. And I think Curses realized that. By the way, he's below 12 health. He has one more Mortal Strike, or he used both?
He used a Mortal Strike. I mean, some people only actually run one Mortal Strike, but actually this is gonna be lethal for Death Star here. So Death Star is gonna be able to convert here. The Aya, the Lightning Bolt, and the Jade Lightning are gonna allow him to get through lethal. That was actually not the most obvious lethal spot. You had to use the portal to deal 1 damage to the minion, use the claw to finish it off, and then that way you have exactly lethal. It actually used up all his mana too.
Actually, yeah, I missed the last draw. I was really not seeing a lethal there, but yeah, that was probably the last lightning bolt. Yeah, I mean, great, nice for Death Star, and he did it. Even though it seemed like he somehow gave chances to Cursed, a right draw at the right time sealed the deal. But let's say he didn't draw a spell for lethal. Maybe Cursed could have actually win, right? It was a really close game.
Right. Exactly. I mean, Cursed in that position was trying to set up lethal for himself in the following turn, but it happened that Death Star was able to find his own lethal, his own count. And actually, a lot of the aggro mirrors come down to that. Like they're both trying to race each other, and you can get some really interesting situations. Like basically, both players have to minimize their opponent's chances to win while maximizing their own chance, right? And Death Star actually ended up I think he played pretty well and was able to get that W. Now, so it's going to be Cursed who decides what the next matchup is.
Let me see. Actually, I'm talking with the players right now. I think Cursed will choose. What would you choose right now? I mean, it doesn't make a big difference, but what do you think is the easiest matchup?
All the matchups are set, right? It's a best of 5. All the matchups are set and known. So actually in this, it doesn't matter what matchup you pick, but I guess you would go for something more comfortable for you, just to get your confidence up. And he's gonna go ahead and choose the Shaman Mirror.
Oh, he chooses the Shaman Mirror. Interesting. Uh, wow. And Death Star has a pretty good hand.
Yeah. Death Star's hand looking okay. Cursed hand's not bad either. He can just play his Claw on turn 1, play his Blood Mage turn 2 to buff up his Claw, and then play Feral Spirits on 3. It's a pretty solid hand for both players here.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, yeah, true, really good hand. I mean, both players lack a Totem Golem, but they are pretty happy,
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Death Star's
Would
definitely
you,
got a more aggressive hand though. He's gonna actually coin out both of his 1-drops, which is actually very interesting. I think he just wants to make sure that his Flame Tongue can be played on turn 2 and get full value.
Interesting choice. Yeah, I agree. I think I would do the same. I was thinking about it. But okay, I think for Kerst it's pretty straightforward. You got to play Thalnos and clear something.
I mean, I don't think it's that straightforward. He also has the
Okay,
he also has the
yeah.
option of playing 2 1-drops. There's a lot of reasons doing that because first of all, if you play the Blood Mage, you're gonna go into Feral Spirits the turn after, and then who knows when you're gonna have like two or three turns before you have the opportunity to pull out patches. In this line, you pull out patches immediately so that you don't draw the patches in the next few turns, and you also charge out the deckhand. You get the patches. You're actually able to clear a lot of the board with this line as well.
True. A really interesting turn. I wasn't sure which is the best play. Yeah, probably this feels better. I mean, you trade stuff, and the thing you said, sometimes by playing like this, you avoid the chance of drawing patches, which most of the time in the mirror is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
From my experience, every time I draw patches, I usually lose. That's how bad it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but Cursed playing this line, I do like this line. He had he had a choice to make whether to trade with the Trog or with the Buccaneer, and he ended up trading with the Buccaneer, which is pretty reasonable. I think both were reasonable. Though if he traded with a Trog, he would have to trade in his patches as well. So this leaves a little bit more board tension. And in situations like this, I do like to leave that extra board tension because the more board tension there is, the more decisions your opponent has usually. But it looks like Death Star is not going to play the Flame Tongue. He's just going to Hero Power and take the trade with the Trog here.
I guess it's an okay hero power, an okay totem. You kind of force your opponent to play something. It protects your Tunnel Trog. That's a good thing, I guess. Okay, so Kirst didn't go for the Thalnos. Yeah, it wasn't on curve. I think Feral Spirit was better.
Yeah, Feral Spirit is definitely because if you play the Thalnos if you play the Feral Spirits, you can actually just Thalnos on curve after the Overload on turn 4. Death Star's got an interesting choice here. I imagine Death Star's probably just gonna Blood Mage Claw.
Yeah, probably Thalnos, Claw, Trade, and wait. The only positive thing for Death Star right now is that he has a bigger hand, more cards. But right now, I think I would...
Actually, ooh. So he wants to go for he's thinking about the Flame Tongue. But
What?
Lava Burst makes a lot of sense too, because if you Lava Burst,
Oh.
you get to trade your Trog off. If you go Blood Mage Claw, he can value trade into your Trog, because your Trog is still a 1/2. So he decides to use a Lava Burst. He's going to overload himself for next turn, but he's going to make sure that his opponent doesn't get value from the trade into the Trog.
Interesting line. This turn is kind of bad though for him, right? But I guess only... Oh, there it is. No, his turn is pretty good now. I mean, he gets rewarded. I think that the only problem with the Lava Burst play was the turn after, but when you get a Totem Golem, you're pretty fine with it.
Yeah. So this Curse draws it to his Doomhammer, but he's going to try to get a lot of as much value as he can out of his Spirit Claws before he equips it. He's going to go ahead and play the Blood Mage, buff it up, use the Maelstrom Portal to clear the Golem, and now Curse is in a really fantastic position. I think, again, we talked really deeply about some of the early game decisions, right? His decision to not play the Thalnos on turn 2 and instead go for the double 1-drop. I think that's what allowed him to put himself in this position.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, South Sea deckhand just to trade the Selfless Hero, which is one of my favorite one drops when I have a board.
Yeah.
Let's see. So with Cursed Hand, do you swap into face damage?
Yeah, so you just go face with your claw, then you play the Doomhammer over it.
Do you trade Thalnos with each other?
No, I probably use the second charge of my. I probably use a Doomhammer to kill the Thalnos. Right.
Okay.
So you go face for 3 with your claw. You override it with a Doomhammer. Your Doomhammer can still attack again, and then you use your Doomhammer charged to kill the Thalnos. I think that's probably what he's gonna go for here.
Let's see. Yeah, he goes face. He will definitely kill Thalnos. There's no way you are leaving it. Yeah. Interesting draw. And now I think, wow, that could be a really good draw for Death Star.
Yeah, Death Star's hand has a lot of value, and it's nice because the things from below are taunts. So he even rolls another spell power.
Wow.
So the nice thing about the things from below is that they're actually going to stall out Cursed aggression for a long time. And this Doomhammer and the 2 burst cards in his hand, that's a lot of direct damage. But with these things from below are effectively healing you for 10 because they're giving you an extra 10 health here, which is amazing.
And it's probably the best draw you wish for. I mean, Death Star doesn't know Cursed Hand right now, but things from below are your way out because Cursed has so much damage in his hand. Like literally, he could kill him without a thing from below. Right now, I think I'm not sure who's winning. I'm always trying to think who's ahead, but last turn we knew Curse was ahead, but with this draw, maybe Death Star has turned the tables.
Yeah, I think Curse can still reasonably maintain his board initiative. What he can do here is he can play the Trog, burst the thing from below, and then just I don't know if he wants to use his bolt on the Flame Tongue, but essentially he can basically clear almost everything. Actually, I like this play a lot. So he's actually going to play the Pharaoh Spade. He's going to develop the minion first. He's going to bolt the thing from below, use his weapon to kill the thing from below, and the spell power totem. So he's going to isolate the Flame Tongue. He's going to take a lot of damage in the process, right? If he used the burst, he wouldn't have to take the 7. But this is actually a nice play. So he gets, again, he's doing everything he can to maintain the board initiative.
And he has a nice answer for the second thing from below. He's using his spells to play for the board. You're right. That right now it seems that Curse find the right answer for the thing from below from Death Star.
Yeah, and Death Star at this point, his things from below are being dealt with very efficiently. So he's actually basically gonna just use everything that he has in his hand, and now Curse doesn't have to worry about anything. Curse knows that Death Star doesn't have any more cards in his hand. He draws another Trog, so he goes Trog Burst, and all of a sudden he has 2 really, really huge Trogs.
But I'm still thinking about Death Star deck. So he has Deck Hand, he has Mana Tide, and he has Think from Below. Really interesting. Like, I don't think I have seen a version that runs Think from Below, Mana Tide, and Deck Hand together. Have you?
Yeah, me neither. It's definitely his own flavor. He probably wanted it to be a bit more greedy. And it's definitely one thing I do like about the Mana Tide is actually really good against Reno Lock and Reno Mage, because it gives you more resources to basically be able to beat them through Reno sometimes, and also they have to invest. It's hard for them to actually deal with, right? Reno Lock doesn't and Reno Mage don't get ahead on board early, so in order for them to deal with the Mana Tide, they have to invest Shadow Bolt or a Frostbolt, and if they do that, then they're not using those spells on other minions that are also threatening you, like Flame Tongue Totem or Totem Golem. So,
true. Also, we forgot about Azure Drake. I mean, come on, what Deckhand and Azure Drake?
I mean, Azure Drake is pretty clear. I mean, it's definitely there to help you draw cards, but also give you the spell power because it synergizes with Maelstrom Portal, synergizes with your Spirit Claws, and yeah, Cursed. I think really well played by him. He's gonna be able to tie up the series here.
Yeah, and good game. I think Kerst played perfectly. He realized that his chances are to fight for the board and not to go crazy. Even if Death Star drew pretty perfectly with those two things from below, Rockbiter was more than enough to give a win to Kerst.
Well,
and now I think Death Star will pick a match.
Yeah. So Death Star is going to go ahead and pick the next matchup. And so you were actually mentioning like whether possibly having it do Rockbiter with the Doomhammer for Curse. But actually what I've seen is that a lot of shamans are actually even just running Doomhammer by itself, because Rockbiter after the nerf, Rockbiter is almost an unplayable card. I mean, it's not bad, but I've seen a lot of people just run naked Doomhammers and not run Rockbiter, because Doomhammer itself is so good. 16 damage over the course of 4 turns. I mean, you don't even need Rockbiter to make it good.
Mm-hmm. I really like Doomhammer. I used to run it a lot when the expansion came out. The problem with Doomhammer, I mean, is how much you can trade. How much you can.
Definitely a lot of decisions to be made there. Well, you said Death Star's mage is going to be Reno Mage, and Reno Mage is something that I've seen come up a lot on ladder lately, and it's definitely really, really strong.
Yeah, and let's see. I'm really interested to see the exact version, because right now we see many Reno Mage versions with Antonite that's been thrown in so many stuff. Not only the life coaches one, but
and there's
right
also
now
the one with Medivh too.
Yeah, with Medivh, true. This card seems pretty stable in any deck, right? I mean, any Reno Mage runs those cards. Maybe not Courier or Arcane Explosion. Do you run it?
I don't think Arcane Explosion is a common card. I think Courier is really good, though. Courier works really well with Bran, can help you find answers, can help you find another Polymorph, another Siphon Soul. I don't know. From my experience, Cabal Courier has been a little bit iffy, but I think majority of the time you get something pretty useful. And Death Star has a really good hand. He actually kept all of it. He has a Doomsayer, which is one of the most amazing cards in this matchup. Cursed, I'll be interested to see how much Cursed decides to commit to his turn 1. The thing is, if he plays Coin Golem, for example, he never is able to answer the Doomsayer. So what I imagine is that maybe he just plays Coin double 1-drop. If he coins out double 1-drop, specifically if he goes Trog, Coin, Buccaneer, he can play the Flame Tongue and be able to deal with the Doomsayer, which he's actually going to do that. And I really like this play, because this is the only line that gives him an answer to Doomsayer.
It's the only line, yeah, and not even Tunetor or Coin Tunetor would help against Doomsayer. So I'm pretty sure Kerst thought about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, there it is.
And that's what separates. That's what separates the top players from mediocre players, right? They know how to set themselves up in a position to answer anything that their opponent can do.
A happy Fist of Winterfell from Curse. Oh my god, the manners. Don't do it, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, so Death Star is going to go ahead and just Volcanic Potion here. Definitely good Volcanic Potion value. Doesn't clear the Flame Tongue or the Trog, but it sets himself up for a good Arcane Explosion after. He actually has Frostbolt and Arcane Explosion together, and this is actually, even though Cursed played well, had the perfect answer, Death Star is still going to set himself up to answer back.
True. Hypothetical question. Let's say you knew your opponent had Arcane Explosion. Would you Hero Power for 25% to get the healing one?
The thing is, it's hard to say, because the thing is, most Reno Mages aren't running Arcane Explosion. I think Death Star is the first Reno Mage that I've seen run Arcane Explosion. On ladder, I definitely wouldn't play around it.
Yeah, true.
I think he had the. I mean, he could have hero powered, but I think playing the Golem was going to be the 100% of the play every time. And unfortunately, it didn't really. He got wrecked by the Arcane Explosion.
And it's it feels bad for Curse. He played so perfectly with Doomsayer, but Death Star found the crazy answer with Volcanic Potion and Arcane Explosion. You are right, you can't expect that. I was talking hypothetical if you really knew that every version run Arcane Explosion, but yeah, Death Star, really interesting tech games. Oh, no, Babbling Book is pretty good. Oh, he doesn't decide to go for it? Yeah, I agree. Forgotten Torch and Hero Power is much better in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, from the Reno Mage perspective, you want to just like mitigate damage on a turn-by-turn basis. You want to first mitigate the damage. Your opponent, if your opponent whiffs on the turns, then you start being proactive. So right here, as we see, Curse whiffs on his turn. Now he gets a better turn to do whatever he wants, right? Probably even just like Cabal Courier first. Actually, I would probably Cabal Courier before Babbling Book because from the Cabal Courier, it's a discover card, so it's more likely that you find something that you like versus. What? Whoa!
What?
I know. Wow.
What?
I imagine he decided. So the thing is, you just saw your opponent whiff, right? Volcanic Potion probably doesn't do anything because your opponent whiffed and doesn't. You know your opponent doesn't have minions. So instead, what you should do is you should take the proactive threat, and you know this happens to be the proactive threat. Although he might get punished for it because Volcanic Potion would be pretty good on this board. We'll see.
Yeah. Wow.
Burgly Bully.
Interesting. Add a coin to your hand. Oh my god, what? I saw Curse going like, what? On the camera.
Oh, dude, I know. I actually like this card. I think this card is really good. I think it's very underappreciated. I think it's under a lot of people's radars at the moment because it's not popular. But I mean, it's a 5 mana 4/6. Like the stats are okay. But the main thing is that in a control match or even against an aggro matchup, right? If you're like, it effectively gives you more mana. So you play it for 5 mana, but each spell your opponent casts gives you another mana. So it effectively like just gives you mana. It's a 5 mana 4, so it's actually cheaper than a 5 mana 4/6.
Oh my god! And now you can. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
The dream. You go
Dream.
Ballesters. Oh my god! I still think Volcanic Potion was a bit better, right? I mean, come on. You are playing against Shadow.
Look at this though. No, I mean, the thing is, Volcanic Potion is better for sure if you know your opponent has threats. But he saw his opponent whiff turn 5. He knows his opponent doesn't have proactive threats. So why would you take a reactive card if you read your opponent doesn't have threats, right?
Yeah. Okay. It's really interesting. I think I have like two different. I would do two different things than Death Star. In one moment, he picked the Deckhand instead of Thalnos, and that Palestris pickup. I mean, he's a really interesting player.
So here's another thing about that play. You want to mitigate damage. Also, when you ping the Thalnos, you accelerate your opponent's draw. If you don't ping the Thalnos, your opponent has no way to suicide it off. So if your opponent whiffs, he can't force the draw to maybe find himself like a 7/7 or something. It just gives him less chances to have to draw into a good turn for the next turn. So actually, like sometimes you want to kill the Thanos because it provides them a lot of value. But when the cases are that the Blood Mage doesn't provide them a ton of immediate board value, you want to ping it off last because you don't want your opponent to draw the card.
Okay, I agree. I mean, sometimes I'm really afraid of the claw value. If you leave the Thanos out, maybe your opponent will get 9 damage, stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it makes sense though. You deny your opponents the board, and wow, that
bully is getting so much value.
Oh my god! Wow. An early concede.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. Yeah, I mean, at that point, Curse didn't have any proactive plays for the entire mid game. It was basically too late. Reno Mage was still at 20 something health, already stabilized, and I mean, is the control deck. So when the control deck stabilizes, they typically win. Especially Reno Mage is a lot harder for aggro decks to kill because of both the fact that they have Ice Block and Reno. We did see that the Ice Block was in Death Star's hand. I mean, obviously Curse doesn't know that, but in that position, I think it's a reasonable concede.
And 2 new cards, in my opinion, Burgle Belly and Arcane Explosion. Would you use any of them in your Reno Mage?
I have a Reno Mage list right now I have a Reno Mage right now. I'm not entirely happy with it. I mean, definitely those are cards that should be considered. I have considered Burgly Bully. I honestly think it's a pretty sweet card. But you know, it's I think it'll be. I mean, with most Reno decks, it really just comes down to preference. Like, what do you like, right? Because actually a lot of people there are a lot of successful players that build Reno lock differently, and they build it on their own preferences. And also there's like something to do with play style too, and also what you're trying to counter. But yeah, now Curse, we see he is down 1-2, so he's gonna go ahead and queue up the favorable matchup. He picks Rogue versus Reno Lock, and this is the matchup that he wants. This is almost free for the Rogue, especially with this. Well, with this hand, it's kind of interesting because if the Reno Lock has like Demon Wrath early and answers the early board, then they're in a really good spot. But if they don't, then Curse is going to apply a lot of pressure. If he can find his Pillager into his gadget, he pretty much guaranteed wins. But unfortunately, he kind of is drawing a little bit thin right now.
He drew Reno though.
Yes, he did draw. Yeah, and Death Star did draw Reno, so this early pressure might not be relevant at all. And I think Death Star's chances based on these hands are actually pretty okay.
Yeah, I think that I would be happy in Death Star position. When you have Reno, you feel safe. Like, no matter how everything goes, you have a backup. And yeah, I think Death Star is pretty happy with his hand right now, even though you don't have a Demon Wrath, you don't have an early Imp Boss or Dark Peddler or something. You still have Reno. Let's see. So, coin Tom Pillager? Yeah, definitely. Really strong move. And he does 4 damage. Not bad. He's at 19.
Yeah. Cursed, finding that Pillager draw was a huge deal. It has a lot of pressure now, and Death Star is going to go ahead and coin out the Drake. It's going to contest the board. If the Rogue has Sap here, they usually just win. But as we see in Cursed hand, he doesn't have a Sap. So I'm curious to see how he approaches his turn.
Schwarzburglar for what, though? What do you wish for from a Locks deck right now?
You can actually get like Siphon Soul and prep the Siphon.
Oh,
nice. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, that's a possibility. There's also like maybe you get a Blast Crystal Potion.
Yeah.
Prep it out and you Cold Blood and you just go all in. Your opponent just uses the coin, so they're very far off from Reno. Yeah, I think Swashbuckler is pretty good here.
Let's see. Oh, Demon Wrath.
That is not the card he wants.
Oh,
so that's probably like the worst card in that position, actually, because it just hurts your board more than it hurts your opponents.
Yeah, Curse is laughing. Even Blood Imp would be much better. So yeah, he's like, what the fuck? I mean, yeah, it doesn't work right now. He's in a weird situation. Do you just Cold Blood and all in, or Fan of Knives?
I wouldn't all in the Cold Blood yet. I think Fan of Knives is really reasonable. Like, you just Fan of Knives, send all your damage to the face, use your weapon on the face, and then you're just trying to force your opponent to do something. For example, like a Shadow Flame here. I mean, it's okay for Death Star. I think he has to do it, otherwise he dies. Yeah, he pretty much has to Shadow Flame here.
Wow. Yeah. I agree. I mean, what else? Attack, Shadow Flame, and hope for the best. Defender of Argus is really scary. I mean, there's no, pointless. I guess a rogue. I mean, it's... Yeah. Let's see.
But the thing is, again, this early pressure is going to get negated if Death Star can survive until the Reno turn. And we'll have to see what Curse draws here. He draws another Cold Blood. If he found Reno, or not Reno, Leroy would be a win if he had a deckhand, or even if he drew, well, not Patches, because he already pulled out Patches, but I was going to say, like, if he hadn't pulled out Patches already, that would also be a win.
It's still a lethal. Oh my god, there it is. Wow. The thing you said, right? Even if a lock gets Reno, if he doesn't have the early removal, right? You might not even get to the Reno turn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, Buccaneer gave the Rogue so much early pressure against control decks, like against Druid, against Reno Lock. It's made Rogue, like, I mean, Rogue's been a tier 1 deck for the last few weeks for that reason. The Buccaneers give him so much pressure against control, gives him a way to contest early game against aggro, and they can have early game. So not only do they have early game Edwin all in as a win condition, they also have Buccaneers into pressure into Cold Bloods. As we saw there, I mean, basically just kill them on turn 5 before they even had their chance to Reno.
Yeah, and I mean, even that demon wrath that we said, it didn't matter. I mean, Kirst had already enough things, and let's go back to the banning phase. Do you really leave Rogue against Handlock? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
you
don't
banned
know.
Shaman. Yeah, I mean,
It,
anyway.
the thing
Uh,
is, the thing is, banning your opponent's rogue is. So I have my own thoughts about banning rogue. The thing is, rogue is one of the hardest classes in the game, and it's very common for even the top players. Even top players will misplay with rogue. So when you ban rogue, your rogue is rather than easier. So I would say it's easier for your opponents to play Pirate Warrior and Shaman. Like Pirate Warrior and Shaman, they're gonna make less mistakes. So if you ban the classes that are easy to play and leave up the class that's hard to play, even though the class to play is that's hard to play is favored against you, they're more likely to make a mistake. Does that make sense?
no, no, I totally agree. I mean, I'm gonna bash Rusty a bit. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I mean, Rusty just told me that he lost the last tournament he played, the energy qualifiers, because he wasn't experienced enough with Rogue. I mean, it happens even to coaches. I mean, I'm not experienced with Rogue. Many players are not experienced with a deck like Miracle, and in my opinion, it's one of the hardest deck, to be honest.
Right. So even if you are scared of a matchup, sometimes you just leave it up because my opponent just might misplay with Rogue, and I have a chance to win that way. Versus, he came in with the macro strategy of build his Rena Lock greedy so that he can ban aggro decks. And right, so even if he sees his opponent has a rogue, well, it certainly makes sense for him to leave it up. And in that case, I mean, he had a good chance to win. It's just, all he needed to do was survive an extra turn. I think if he survived that extra turn, the rogue would have run out of resources, wouldn't have been able to deal another 30 damage.
Yeah, I agree. And then we see my favorite card from today. It's here again. You know it, right?
What? Burgley Bully.
Yeah. There it is. There it is. And I think it could be really good in this matchup. I mean, if Rogue doesn't have the board, then maybe you will get 2 or 3 coins. Yeah. Imagine having a Burgle against a Gazetton, right? he might even make you lose a card if he wants to.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. Like, what if your opponent just gives you like, 6 5 coins in a turn and you just lose your next card? Wow. I don't know. It's hard to say because coins are good. Coins push a lot of tempo. So.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, right now you can't do that. Would you do that? I mean, it makes sense, but just to burn 1 card, you give your opponent like 5 or 6 mana. Maybe it's too much.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how many. If Death Star is able to utilize the rules, it looks like he is going to be able to. Like, he can just Thorson here and trade or something. I mean, I don't see a reason not to. Yeah, just Thorson and trade.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, Thorson. It's pretty reasonable. And I think Reno Mage is really happy when you can get that board control against Rogue. You delay the game enough. Do you go for Gazetteter now? The fact that you have coin, you have conceal.
Yeah, you can just gadget coin conceal here. That honestly just might be the play because you don't have what are you gonna do? Charge a Leroy into the I mean, I think it's not terrible, but your opponent has only 4 cards in hand, so maybe you just think that it's better to develop your own tempo. The gadget coin. He has 2 gadgets and he has 2 conceals, so he definitely wants to get them out, right?
Yeah, I agree. That should be the play. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the only play. Yeah, I mean...
he can actually find a prep here. Preppy Vis allows him to deal with the Thorson, but no go here.
Wow. And then you get, Cabalistome, an amazing Cabalistome.
Ooh. Barrier.
Wow. Gosh. Kers is gonna be mad after he sees the barrier. I'm pretty sure.
Well, it looks like he's gonna go ahead and Kabbalist Tomb, which do. You throw Arcanist.
I'm pretty sure he will
actually-
go tentacles. He will go tentacles just
Wait,
for the
really?
lords. I mean,
No,
no,
Ethro
kidding.
Arcanist is so good though. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say Ethro Arcanist is so good here because you have the secret.
No, I'm kidding, of course. But I don't know. With the Palestros play last turn, you could say like tentacles, guys. It's an amazing card. It will get reduced from Thorizan. 4 mana tentacles 2/6, really good. But no, I think Arcanist is pretty good. Let's see. He got the prep this time.
Yeah, so you're gonna start with prep because that's just good ordering. He doesn't. So he picks up the questing. I don't know if he wants to play. Yeah, I imagine he just plays the questing now. So you can play the questing now, play Blood Mage and Eviscerate the Emperor, something like that.
Maybe Patch's Shadow Step. No.
No, probably Buccaneer and Reconceal. No, Buccaneer Reconceal is probably the play here.
Conceal, sorry.
Yeah, Buccaneer Reconceal. That's a conceal. That is you were reading that card as it's a conceal, not a.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. Yep, you're right. I didn't see it correctly. I was like Shadow Step. No, okay. Conceal.
Oh wait, interesting. He's gonna conceal first and then play Patches, and I guess he's trading into the Cabal. Okay, I see. Okay, I guess this is okay.
Interesting play. Yeah, sorry, I didn't read it right. You're right. Let's see. Azure Drake Arcanist makes sense. I mean, he has Arcane Missiles for 0. So Doomsayer Frost.
No, Blizzard Doomsayer is just probably the most reasonable. He can also set up a barrier behind this as well. Although it's interesting because I like this. This his gadget is not dealt with, so Curse can still draw a lot of cards, but Death Star's in a reasonable position in the fact that his life total is very well protected behind a barrier and a block, and it basically forces Cursed to have force him to use damage and burn to deal with Doomsayer, which effectively heals him for another 7 at least.
Yeah.
Although I guess Leroy Fan of Knives works out pretty well here. Wow, Leroy Fan of Knives is actually insane. But he has to be worried about Counterspell, I guess. If he goes for Leroy Fan of Knives and the secret is Counterspell and not Barrier, then he gets completely destroyed.
Maybe yeah. You're right. Maybe Leroy and Hero Power, just to be safe?
It's hard to say. Looks like you're going to start with the Fan here. Doesn't... It's running out of time too. It's a hard play to make because it's such a hard play to make. Actually, he's gonna cycle both of the Cold Bloods. Oh, he found the sap. That sap is huge. Let's hope he can get all of his cards out in time. Okay, yeah, it looks like he's able to be able to get the sap out here. Okay, now that I like that play.
I think now I understand why he went Fan of Knives first. He went to test for a counterspell. That's the idea. Because even if it was counterspell, he still had a way to deal with the. I think he had a way to deal with the 0/7, I guess. Anyway, let's see. So Azure Drake, wow.
I imagine Death Star's gonna have to go for like a Frost Nova Doom here. I don't really see how else he can.
I mean, he has Arcane Blast for 4. I think he can still Arcane Blast for 4, Torch.
Oh, yeah, but
maybe?
that doesn't
that
doesn't get a guaranteed kill on the questing though. I mean, you have to kill the questing. We agree on that, right?
Let's see something like actually maybe Volcanic Potion, Arcane Blast, and Arcane Missiles. No, too much.
It's a little bit risky. The thing is, all of those plays are very risky. I think this is I think this might be the best. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And he's gonna go ahead and preemptively blast here. Okay. Just to get it while he has the spell power out. I think he's doing this just because in case the Doomsayer is dealt with, he has a chance with Volcanic Potion, Torch, and Arcane Missiles.
And the second questing adventure is coming out. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. I think that was the safest play. I was thinking that what's your chances to actually kill the questing adventure? The answer was like 50-50, so it wasn't that good. He gets a second sub, wow, and probably an eviscerate on the Drake.
Yeah. So even though I thought the play was Death Star's play this game has been pretty reasonable. I mean, cursed on that Rogue, man. Again, Rogue known to be the killer of control decks, and we see it now. Like, how does a deck deal with the Auctioneer and these questings that are just amazingly big? And he's gonna play an Edwin here too. Like, how does a control deck deal with this? I mean, for Control Warrior, I guess you have Brawl, but Reno Lock has Nether, but Reno Mage actually doesn't have a good answer here.
And I think that's the biggest problem for Reno Locks. You don't have a good answer for a
Reno Mage, you mean?
Reno Mage, sorry. Yeah.
You actually, that's where Cabal Courier comes in handy, because Cabal Courier can find you Nether.
True. And what's your win condition now? Do you just... How do you win? I mean, you are certain that he will pop out your ice block right now, like 100%. Do you just try to get some face damage?
Yeah, I think the play is to just go send as much damage to the face as you can. So he's going to play a Doomsayer because Doomsayer is effectively a heal. He's going to go ahead and play his other minion to perhaps heal. Frost. Okay, so he's actually going to Frostbolt the big questing here. I was thinking maybe you just send all your burn spells to the face. Your opponent takes fatigue damage, and you try to draw into like a fireball or something.
Exactly. I would just ping to get that extra 1 damage, and or Frostbolt. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Might work out for Death Star, but I'm not sure what's your win condition now. You lost 3 damage to the face, and
I see. I think what he's trying to do. So this turn, or the play he made, buys him the most amount of turns before he gets popped. So he wants the Rogue to stack up fatigue damage. That roll, the Manatide roll is so huge.
Wow.
That Manatide was the worst possible thing that could have happened for him.
Oh my god.
That actually might lose him the game here. That Manatide roll might actually lose him the game here. That's actually insane.
Well, maybe that will stay to everyone. You never use Faceless Summoner in those situations. Wow.
Yeah, because the question you have to ask yourself is, did he really need to play that? Because if you play that, you get Manatide, you can lose the game.
Oh my god, I'm just seeing Kier's face and Destar's like, what? Oh my god, that's crazy. What? We should do the math. So next turn, he gets 5 damage.
Yeah, this...
Wow, okay. If you torch pink face, that's game.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that's our one. Oh my god.
That was a game losing Faceless Summoner into a Manatide.
Yeah, it's 4 and 5. It's 9. That's our lost.
Wow.
Oh my god.
You mean Curse lost?
Yeah. Sorry, Curse lost. Oh my god. What the fuck? Wow. That's one of the. That should be a clip for YouTube. That's a YouTube clip, guys. There's no way that should be on Reddit front page right here. How you can lose a game from wow, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is. Yeah, 4 and 5. That's 9.
Yeah, so even though Cursed gets to pop the block here, he's gonna take 4 damage from the Manatide, and then at the start of his next turn, he's gonna take another 5 damage, and that's gonna be game for Cursed. There's no way he can win. He's actually gonna just play his Drake here to honorable Sudoku.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the chat will go crazy. Wow, nice game. There you go. He killed his Manatide.
The funny thing is that Cursed wins every time if he doesn't play. Like, he doesn't need to put an extra 5/5 on the board. He has 2 questings that are both huge. Does he need to play the Faceless or not? He doesn't need to play the Faceless. He
No,
he doesn't need to
doesn't.
play the faceless. And then
doesn't.
I don't know. That's crazy. I guess he just didn't account for that. And that was so punishing. That was actually the most punishing oversight I've seen in a long time.
The most punishing faceless summoner in the history of Hearthstone, really. I mean,
Yeah.
that guy never punishes. He's like, okay, guys, I'm a 5/5. I might bring you a 1/1, but still, I'm a
I mean,
5/5.
no, because the worst thing you can get is an owl. It's a 2/1. Maybe
Yeah.
Alarmabot. Alarmabot and
Yeah.
owl are arguably the two worst ones. Owl's like a 2/1. Alarmabot's a 0, whatever, 0/3. But Mana Tide's normally good for you, except when you're in fatigue.
Oh my God,
That was
amazing game
insane.
though. Wow.
Yeah, so
Congratulations, Dessar and Kirst. Amazing
yeah,
series.
amazing series. It went to game 5 too. But Death Star is gonna go make it to the finals today. We are gonna have the next match, Frosty versus Hotmouth, for you after the break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey, Hearthstone fans, and welcome back to the GamerSensei weekly Wednesday 100 exhibition tournament. I'm Astrogation, joined by FKI Shadow.
Hey guys, hey guys.
What an amazing game we just saw, right?
I mean, one out of I was just Googling all the time to search the maths behind this. I mean, how many three drops are there? Like 150? I don't know. I didn't find the correct answer, but that's like a 0 point something percent play, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't want to bash Curse. I mean, when you have a one game, just play Faceless Summoner. I mean, who accounts for Mana Tide? Let's be real. Would you have accounted for Mana Tide? I wouldn't.
I mean, like, the thing is, I probably would have been like, if I was thinking correctly, I would have been like, well, I don't actually need to play this to win the game, so I'll just not play it. That might have crossed his mind. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, oh well, we're not gonna beat him up too much for it. We're gonna move on to our next game here. Again, Death Star move on to the finals today, and we're gonna have Rosti versus Hot Meowth. And here we see their classes. Rosti brought Shaman, Warrior, Warlock. Hot Meowth brought Druid, Shaman, Rogue. And so we have actually a mix up between half of the players bringing Rogue, half of them not bringing Rogue. Kind of interesting here. We do see the four bans right here. What do you think about the bans?
Pretty reasonable. I think that Hot Meowth brought Druid, and he banned the Shaman versus Druid matchup, which makes sense in my opinion. I think Shaman is heavily favored, and then he banned Shaman versus Warrior. Mm-hmm. So I was expecting a control warrior from Hot Meowth, to be honest. Maybe after this ban.
Well, it's Rosti who's on the warrior. Wait, Rosti plays a lot of control warrior, so he probably didn't want aggro Shaman versus control warrior. Control warrior is actually really good against aggro right now, right?
Yeah, no, actually you're right, exactly. So yeah,
we did see Rosti's warrior in the energy qualifier, and that did amazing.
He won, yeah, against Impact's Rogue, if I recall. He won, and but
of course, Rosti, and the rest of the bans actually make sense, right? Rosti doesn't want Control Warrior versus Druid, and then also doesn't want doesn't want Reno Lock versus Druid either.
Yeah, the bans make sense. I wouldn't change any ban. We will see a hand look against the Rogue again, but.
But let's say we actually see the same. We actually see the same pattern that we saw in the last series, where the Reno Lock doesn't ban the Rogue.
Yeah, exactly. And but let's be honest, there are two worse bans than this. I mean, you definitely want to ban the Druid against the Shaman, right? I mean, if it's aggro Shaman, and you really want to ban the Control Warrior against Shaman too. I think Control Warrior really crushes Shaman. So maybe you thought about banning the Rogue handlock, or actually no, it's the other way around.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, the bans are in, and we are going to jump into the game soon.
Okay, perfect. And wow, I'm just seeing. I mean, from the chat, Fino suggested that Acolyte of Pain was a bad 3-drop too.
Oh yeah, so there were multiple bad 3-drops, right? Acolyte was one of them. So yeah, I guess if you account for the fact that there are multiple bad 3-drops for you in the situation with the Faceless Summoner, yeah, I think that definitely something to make sure you don't do again.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, I would definitely play Flex. I mean, sometimes you can't account for everything. It's normal. It's Hearthstone, guys. Don't overanalyze it, please. No, I'm kidding. Such an amazing series.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you say that, but at the same time, at the highest level, you really have to. It's all about maximizing your chance to win. While if you're ahead, you don't want to throw. When you're behind, you want to figure out ways to get back into the game. All of those small things, matter to your win percentage. So it's definitely something that you take as a lesson, and then you moving forward, you try not to make the same mistake. Right? These guys are competitive players. They're going to learn from their mistakes. They're not going to make them again.
I agree. I mean, Kirst has a big chess background. He used to be. I mean, he's one of the he used to be one of the best Greek young players in chess. In chess, you don't have an RNG factor. You don't have a luck factor. It's
Exactly.
it's only about who's the best. But Hearthstone is a bit different, and sometimes RNG can crush you when you don't take into account every possible outcome. Right now, I think the players are choosing the classes to play the matchup. Let's see.
Okay, they're choosing. They're trying to figure out what the first matchup is going to be, right?
Let me explain to the guys. The first band chooses. I think they will figure it out. My fault. There are pick a match. It doesn't make a big difference because eventually, if you go to a best of 5 series, you will play all the matchups. But psychology. I mean, some players really want to win fast to pressure their opponent to play a bit worse. I mean, it makes sense. I'm pretty sure if you lose like 2 in a row, sometimes you play a bit worse. You are tilted or stuff like that. So for some players,
there's definitely that element. I know a lot of players who, when they're behind 0-2 in a series, they're going to definitely start playing worse.
I agree. And I think we just saw the game. It's Rusty picked Warrior against Rogue.
Okay.
Interesting. It's definitely a control warrior.
So I don't know how. I mean, given that Rogue is definitely a control killer, I would perhaps say that Rogue should be favored. But I actually don't know what this matchup is like post expansion, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Control warrior against Rogue. What's your pick?
I mean, it's typically been Rogue favored, but like I said, it's not a common matchup that's happened on ladder since the expansion. I would be inclined to say that Rogue is favored though.
Yeah, I mean, last tournament on the energy qualifiers, I think Rusty won easily with his warrior against Impact's Rogue. So maybe he feels comfortable, I see the Hearthstone Jones. Maybe there's a list with control warriors that run both Hearthstone Jones and Ooze. So maybe it's that list.
Yeah, that's really, really good against weapon classes. I mean, when you bring Control Warrior, the thing is, Harrison fits in really well with Control Warrior. In fact, probably Control Warrior might be the only archetype that I would run Harrison in at the moment because it's really slow, right? In most other decks, Ooze is a little bit better, but Control Warrior can it's a slower deck. They have a lot of armor gain. They can afford to have a slow card another slow card that destroys weapons.
And yeah, I agree. I mean, and Rosty's hand is pretty okay. I mean, you have the 4-drop, you have a shield block, shield slam combo. Most of the time, it's pretty good against Tomb Pillager and stuff like that. You have a brawl if Rogue overcommits. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, and Hot Meow's going to go ahead and drop that 6-6 using both the Buccaneer and the coin, and I definitely like this play. This is very aggressive, and typically what you want to do is, if you can... So the thing is, making a big Edwin against Control Warrior is not that big of a deal because they have cards like Execute. So given that, like, usually 6-6, 8-8 you're happy with. You just play it because it's a lot of tempo. He's going to go ahead and play the Pillager on curve 2. So actually, Hot Meow's hand is really, really good. He has the really good early game aggression. He's got 2 Pillagers going into his gadget. So this should be a very, very smooth game from Hot Meow.
Ooh. Okay, I guess that wasn't a really good brawl for Rusty, but still an okay brawl. You get rid of the Tomb Pillager, you get rid of a 1-1. But yeah, you're right. I think Rogue right now is really fast, and he has a sap, he has a prep.
So we do see Rusty does run the Ragnaros, and the Ragnaros is actually a really good card against Rogue. And so if he can get to turn 8, the Ragnaros should apply a lot of pressure. But at the same time, look, Hot Meow's got 2 gadgets. In fact, he probably wants to. Does he want to play a gadget now? If he plays a gadget now and he uses coin and he doesn't get another spell, it's kind of awkward. But because you have 2 gadgets, I mean, it's probably fine to just use one of them right now. Yeah, I think this is probably okay. Actually, he doesn't even need to use the coin. He can just throw out one of the gadgets as a 4/4. Actually, I think this is my favorite line. I think this is my favorite play by Hot Meow. I think this is definitely something that a lot of people overlook, that you can just, if you have 2 gadgets, you can just play one as a 4/4.
Yeah, and in your brain it's like, automatically when you play Gazetta and you have a coin, you play the coin. But yeah, Hot Meowth is like, I don't need to. And he was rewarded. The next draw was Leroy.
Mm-hmm.
He was really rewarded.
So now Hot Meowth can play his gadget, play a second gadget, play the coin, play a prep, and get a little bit more usage out of the coin because that coin gives him, he'll have 2 mana afterwards. So there's a lot of 2 mana spells that he can combo it with.
Let's see. Right now, would you go, what's your play? Second Gazetta or questing?
Maybe not. Maybe you save it. Maybe you, yeah. Look, it looks like he's gonna go for questing and sap. Now, sapping the ghoul, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the ideal sap target. As we do see, Rosti does have some pretty big threats in hand. For example, I mean, Grom's not a great sap target either because they just replay it. So actually, I mean, I guess the sap is okay.
Oh, does that change your line of play? I mean, it was a pretty obvious Gromash, but now.
No, I mean, bash his own face
my
revenge.
God.
Yeah, this play is actually pretty good. Yeah, I like it.
Rosti, there you go. A nice play. Because actually, he laughs. The armor comes after the damage. That's a really good pickup, guys. If you see the stream right now, that's a play you can do sometimes if you really need to revenge for 3.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like Hot Meow's going to go off with a second gadget now. This is going to be really, really good for him because he does have 2 coins. He's going to have 2 preps as well. Looks like he's going to use one of his preps. Unfortunately, though, he might have to just prep out a Cold Blood, but it looks like he found a Fan Knife, so he doesn't have to prep out a Cold Blood. He draws 2 cards with his Fan, plays a Swashbuckler. Does he get? Oh, he gets a pretty decent card off the Swashbuckler.
Oh, yeah, not bad. Even though he won't play it anytime in the future, right?
Play it next turn. I mean, I'll probably play Drake next turn, but yeah. The question is, does he use his second prep here? Because if he doesn't use his second prep here, this is his last gadget then, so that prep's never getting cycled if he doesn't use it immediately. So I think it's reasonable for him to just prep out a Cold Blood here. Looks like he's going to save it, though, which, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I wouldn't prep a Cold Blood. I would prep and probably pass. But when I have Leroy and double Cold Blood, would you ever?
True, that's true. I mean, no, you're right. Your opponent is at 15, so you have pressure on the board already. You go Leroy double Cold Blood. Yeah, you're right. That's a lot of just burst damage that you would pass up if you went for the Cold Blood there.
Maybe just a prep though. Just to get a draw out of prep. I mean, you have the mana.
Yeah, maybe
you have the cards you need.
Maybe you prep into Eviscerate and then you just eviscerate your opponent's face, right?
Exactly.
And but it looks like Brom's coming down, and it's gonna be game.
That's game. Wow. Okay, Rosti will realize it now. Yeah, he saws it. He was counting the damage in his head, and yeah, that's 16 damage there. There it is.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was actually really well played. I mean, instinctively, I knew that Rogue was favored. Hot Meowth happened to have a really, really good hand in that game. He had both Pillagers going into... Well, not only did he have both Pillagers going into Gadget, but he also was able to make a 6/6 Edwin on the coin. I mean, he was on the coin, too. So being on the coin as a Rogue definitely put him in that advantageous position as well. But he did play that perfectly. I do give him props for that.
I'm going to give props to Rosti too, that bash revenge play, right? Not everyone sees it. I mean, it was a good play. And my question is, Rosti decided to play this matchup. Did he play it because he thought he's favored, or he just wanted to get the bad matchup out of the way?
I mean, could be both. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to analyze their psychology. Like you probably get a better answer just by asking them, and then they'll just tell you. I'm not a mind reader. So, yeah.
I mean,
minds.
Oh, come on, it's funny. I mean, yeah, we should ask after, definitely.
All right, so yeah, Rosti loses that matchup. So Rosti's gonna go ahead and pick the next matchup, and Hot Meowth's up 1-0 in the series.
Yes. Now in the strike format, loser picks up the matchup, and it makes sense. Maybe you really want to win. You don't want to put yourself in the 0-2 situation where you have to reverse sweep and stuff like that. Maybe you feel uncomfortable. Maybe a 1-1 feels better. And I totally agree. I mean, a lot of people say it doesn't matter when you play a best of 5 series. If you're going to win, you're going to win. It doesn't matter if you are 0-2 behind. But psychologically, It does matter, guys. And even in the highest level, when people lose 2 times in a row, sometimes they tilt. No matter,
Yeah.
we are human beings at the end. So let's see what Rusty will pick. Okay, I just saw his pick. What would you pick in his situation before I... Oh, no. Should I spoil it already? I mean, we're going to
go ahead, spoil it. Yeah, I'm not a mind reader.
Okay, I agree. It's Shaman against Rogue.
Okay. That's a pretty good... That's a pretty good matchup for the Shaman.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Shaman against Rogue. Let's see. And right now, the players are going in. There it is. The game starts.
Rosti on the aggro shaman. Rosti is a very, very experienced aggro shaman player. Hotmouth on the defensive here with his rogue. I mean, definitely rogue's got decent chances now because they have the Buccaneer. And actually, Hotmouth's hand here is amazing. He's got Buccaneer and backstab, which is basically what you want in this matchup. He's going to go ahead and play that Buccaneer on one going first. He has 2 preps in his hand, though, so that's very, very bad for him because he can just fizzle out really easily.
I mean, I like Rogue's hand, Buccaneer and patches, but see the Shaman's hand.
Yeah, the Shaman's hand, Rosti's hand here is definitely much better. I mean, the thing is, Hotmouth, if he doesn't draw anything to use with the preps are just going to be dead. Like, this Fan of Knives draw, like, Hotmouth really, really wants to, like, draw an Edwin. If he draws an Edwin, like, right now, next turn, I think he probably has he can probably just go in. But in this situation, like, Hotmouth might not have any proactive plays for the next, like, 3 turns, and that would be really bad for him.
Okay, right now he probably can easily prep a Fan of Knife. No, he can't. Yeah, you're right. His hand is pretty weird.
I don't think I would prep it. Like, he could just fan. Well, if he preps a fan and he finds Edwin exactly, then it's good. Otherwise, he should just fan and then use his dagger to kill and then just play the Pillager next turn. I mean, he wouldn't have found it. So yeah, I mean, this play by Hotmouth is fine. The nice thing for him is that he finally found proactive plays. He found his Pillager. He has that backstab, although the backstab isn't going to be able to actually kill anything on this board. So he'll probably just play the Pillager and pass.
I agree. Pillager, pass. You have a pretty good turn 6, but it's still then how you survive, because the Shaman pressures a lot right now. Wow, Rusty's just going face.
Yeah, I mean, when you play 2 ferals here, especially and your aggro shaman, you play 2 pharaohs, you're blocking out the Pillager's ability to really trade with any of the priority stuff like the Trog and the Golem, and you're basically like your hand at this moment is all pretty much burst damage, right? You got a weapon, you got a bullet, and a flame tongue, so you don't really have any slow minions that require you to have board control. So at this point, it makes a lot of sense to go all face. Looks like he's gonna go ahead and backstab, prep into a fan here would be pretty good because it would allow him to kill the Trog. But he does find a sap. The sap is gonna help him save some health by sapping the Totem Golem.
And then prep again. Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But if he doesn't find
deadly push, okay.
Like he's still so now Rosti is still gonna get full value out of this Flame Tongue, which is actually insane. I wonder if he decides to trade with a gadget though.
Do you just Lightning Bolt face to get an extra 1 damage from the Trog too?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking about. Right? So right now he can pretty much push, 10, 14, 16. He can push 16 here, put himself in a position to draw 3 damage to win at any point in the game. But at the same time, like, how you have an Aya in your hand, so it kind of makes sense to, I don't know, trade, because, I mean, if you trade with a gadget, you can actually still win, right? You trade with a gadget, your weapon kills the Pillager, and you can play Aya next turn. Looks like he's going to go for the trade, and I think this trade is actually correct. I like the trade here. He's going to go ahead and play the Spirit Claws, right? So he's going to keep his healthy minion alive. He's going to keep the Feral Spirits, which is a 4/3. So he does 2 less damage to Hotmouth's face, but he is going to be able to develop an Aya. And he gives up his chance to win by drawing Burn, but he has enough follow-up with minion pressure.
I agree. I think I would go for the Lightning Bolt line. If I didn't have Aya on hand. But having Aya on hand means that you can pressure the board in a really good way. I mean, your opponent used a a lot of stuff too. So I think does that change stuff?
Yeah, I think you definitely go for 7/7 bolt
Yeah.
here. You have to kill that.
Definitely. Okay, faceless, bold, the 3/3, pretty good. And you attack on face, probably. Yeah, there's no way that game will last that long.
Exactly. The game's probably going to be over in 3 turns, so you definitely start using your charges now.
Swashbuckler into Hex? No, I don't know. You really need something.
It looks like he's going to go ahead and play the gadget first, play the coin. He can actually find another sap here. Unfortunately, it doesn't get it. I guess time to play the Swashbuckler. Maybe you get... I don't really know what you can get here at this point, but...
Yeah, me too. I don't know either. A Frost Shock, probably. Frost Shock for 1 mana.
Jade Lightning, that is going to be lethal for Rosti. So Rosti is going to tie up the series 1-1.
Yeah, GG. Nice. I mean, I really think that matchup is favorite again with for Shaman. Especially the questing adventure version is worse. I think when you run SI agents and stuff like that, you have some chances. But the questing adventures, it's a bit questionable.
Yeah, with SI agents, you can combo them with backstab. They can kill totem golems. They can kill trogs. They can kill pharaohs. And that combination just deals with a lot more of the shaman's threats. Questing is a card that you tech in against control. So definitely running the list that is slightly worse against aggro. So Rosti picks it, takes the win pretty easily, and Hot Meow's gonna go ahead and pick the next matchup.
And 1-1. I think it's. If I recall, it's one of the tournaments that we see a lot of games. In many tournaments, we just see a quick 3-0, but right now it seems that we have some close series.
I guess in a format where the loser picks the next matchup, it's more likely to go 5 games, right? Because the loser is most likely going to pick favorable matchups. So it's more likely to go the full distance because of that.
I agree. And let's see. Right now, Hot Meow is picking. He's typing. Let's see what he picks. I'm in the chat, guys. I will spoil it for you. Shaman versus Shaman. There it is.
Okay, so he's going to go ahead and pick the Shaman Mirror. Okay, pretty neutral, right? Like, I imagine that Hot Meow's also going to be playing aggro Shaman. Although he could surprise me. He could surprise me and bring mid-range. Maybe he plays mid-range with Jinyu Water Speaker and, things from below. That definitely... that list with the double Jinyu is actually really good against other aggro decks.
Lately, we have seen some lists that run Thunderbluff and Bloodlust. Some lists that run Barnes too. We have seen some versions.
I don't know. I think I don't like Thunderbluff in the meta right now because it's too slow. I think most of the best mid-range shaman I've seen, they actually don't run Thunderbluff. They run the Jade package instead. Like the Jade package is typically better than Thunderbluffs at the moment because they're a lot faster.
I mean, we see Argent Horse Rider in Hot Meow's hand. It's probably an aggro shaman.
Yeah, looking to be an aggro shaman mirror here.
Yeah, definitely right now. Let's see. So, pretty good hands by both players. I mean, right now in the Shaman list, you have a lot of 1-drops, so it's not that uncommon to get a 1-drop at turn 1. So, yeah, Sir Finlay, I mean, too many 1-drops for Rosti.
Yeah. So, Rosti might fizzle out, whereas Hot Meowth has a lot of value in his hand. He's got a 7/7, which... if he can get that down on a favorable board state, would be really good for him. Looks like Hot Meow's just going to go ahead and play the Claw, and looks like he's going to pass, which I do agree with. I think bolting this is a little bit too slow. I mean, it's okay, but it's really slow. Playing the Buccaneer doesn't offer you like any good interactions either. So I think this is fine. So next turn, what he can do is he can bolt and play the Buccaneer.
I agree. Okay, interesting. Do you go steady shot or life tap?
I think on turn 2, it's generally best to take life tap. With that, you actually gain a lot of information in the mid game, which means that sometimes Hunter is typically better when you know you have him in range and you want to finish him off. Life tap is generally better early on, but in an aggro shot and mirror, it's hard to say because if you take a life tap, they might be able to just have a win condition where you've been tapping a few turns and then your opponent has, he just decides to go lava burst your face, try to burn you down.
Frosty doesn't know that Hotmeow is a shaman aggro. He doesn't know it, and he still picks life tap.
He takes a stay shot, you mean?
No, yeah. Sorry, he still had a big steady shot. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, interesting choice for sure. Hotmouth actually has an interesting decision himself. He can go for the coin Flame Tongue and get some value off the patches, or he can go for a Lightning Bolt.
Maybe
I think I like
Flame
the coin Flame Tongue here. Yeah. So you coin the Flame Tongue, you trade the patches into the Trog, and then you use your weapon on the patches. The thing is, like, if you don't play you want to play Ferals next turn, so if your opponent doesn't deal with your Flame Tongue, you're in a really good spot. And if your opponent does deal with your Flame Tongue, it's less mana that they have to, develop stuff. Looks like he's gonna just bolt the Buccaneer, trade into the Flame Tongue, but not be able to kill it. So now this Pharaoh Spirits gets a lot better.
Yeah, they are huge, and I'm pretty sure.
Wow. But actually, Thanos
Lightning Bolt. Yeah.
Thanos Lightning Bolt, use your weapon to kill the Buccaneer is actually really good too. So,
Yeah, Hotmouth is thinking. I would go for the Thanos version.
Yeah. Okay, Thanos, definitely a little bit of a better play here. Buffs your weapon, clears out more of the board. If you play the Pharaoh Spirits, you allow the Golem to value trade into the 2/3 Pharaoh Spirits, so the Golem doesn't have to trade into the 4/3, obviously. So it'll get a value trade into the 2/3, and then you're in a very awkward position. And Rosti going to go ahead and just hero power here. Doesn't have anything to do. He can't play the Flame Wraith because he was overloaded.
Maybe. I mean, sometimes you get the biggest decision of the game on turn 2. And in my opinion, the biggest decision from Rosti's perspective was what hero power to pick. Maybe he will regret the steady shot right now. I'm not sure how the game will go, but I'm pretty sure that Hotmouth will manage to stay alive. And maybe Rosti would want to get an extra card. Okay, that's a nice draw.
Definitely a nice draw here. It's going to allow him to make a 3/3 and a 7/7. So for 5 mana, he gets 10/10 worth of stats, which is insane.
Let's see. And okay.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing for Hotmouth here is that Hotmouth has 2 Pharaoh Spirits ready to slow down the 7/7, so he's not going to be taking that much face damage yet. Rosti's going to keep drawing into his burn. So actually now it looks like Hunter Hero Power might work out for him because there's a world where, he's just going to win by putting Hotmouth on a clock with burn and Hero Power. Hotmouth, he's going to have to spend some time here. He's probably going to Jade Lightning the 7/7 here. Jade Lightning and then trade the 1/1.
Wow, Rosti. I think that right now steady shot is amazing. You have 2 Bloodlust, 2 Lava Burst, sorry, and that's your only way. That's your only way out to go for face. Yeah,
and he can obviously keep drawing like bolts and stuff, but I mean at this point he should probably just throw the Lava Burst at his face. There's no reason to hold it in because if you hold it in, you might not be able to use all the bursts you need at the same time. So he's going to start using up his mana while he can. But now Hotmouth's going to go on the counter aggression here.
Hotmouth is correct. The only way to win right now is to pressure for lethal the next turn, because actually next turn Hotmouth has lethal.
Yeah, exactly. So Hotmouth able to mount the counter aggression. Rosti here fizzling out. Maelstrom Portal not going to help at all. He's probably going to...
Shield Bearer, no. Okay, that's game.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be honest, I don't think that life tap would have made a difference. So yeah, maybe the decision to go steady shot was correct. But good game. 2-1 for Hotmouth.
Yeah, so Hotmouth taking game 3 there, putting himself in a really good position to make to the finals here. Rosti not having the best of luck there. But he is going to be able to pick the next matchup, and maybe he'll pick one that's favorable and allow him to have the series.
And I really want to see a best of 5 again. Yeah, really good players, both of them. And definitely the key moment of the game was on turn 2. You get a life tap and the steady shot. You're not sure if your opponent is mid-range or aggro, and you still go for the steady shot. That was my key point of the game, the play I would analyze and try to think, would I do it differently or would I pick steady shot? It's really, really interesting play.
I typically on turn 2, I pick life tap almost every time, but it's definitely debatable. Also, I don't know what he's running in his deck, so maybe he had some knowledge that I didn't know. But steady shot was reasonable there. If Hotmouth didn't mount the counter aggression that he did, he would have been on a timer. With the steady shot and the lava burst, Rosti could have won if he had maybe one more turn. Right, he draws a bolt or something, and he just wins with hero power burst bolt. So I could definitely see the reason for taking the steady shot there. But we are going to go into the next game, and it's going to be Rosti on the Reno Lock versus the Shaman. Actually, we see Hamias running an Earth Shock in his aggro Shaman.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. And that's a good deck. What's your opinion about Earth Shock?
Well, it's definitely it's really good against Doomsayer, right? Like, if you, for example, one of the situations against control decks that aggro Shaman has is if you coin out a Golem and your control opponent plays a Doomsayer, it's impossible for you to deal with it. And so if you want, and the thing is, coin Totem Golem is such a strong play most of the time that you don't want to pass it up, but at the same time you don't want to lose immediately to a Doomsayer. So Earth Shock in those types of situations allows you to deal with that. Also against Reno Lock, for example, it actually works well against Twilight Drakes. Maybe later in the game, you need to get through a huge taunt or something. You ignore the taunt, you just Earth Shock the taunt, silence it, go face. So there's actually multiple applications for it. But in this situation, it does work out on the Doomsayer, but Rosti went for the coin. Twilight Drake is able to get a really, really good Shadow Flame here, and is going to be able to kind of slow down the bleeding. And Rosti actually does have a Reno Jackson in hand, so it looks like he's very favored to win at this point.
Yeah, we have seen this again, but this time the pressure is not as big as it was on the last game. I mean, on the Rogue versus Warlock, we saw Reno Jackson on the first hand, but the pressure was huge. Right now, Rosti had the Doomsayer, he had the Twilight Drake and the Shadow Flame. He managed to stay alive till the Reno Jackson turn.
Yeah, and this refresh and render on curve is definitely going to help out too. He actually, these situations are interesting because sometimes you actually just don't want to play Reno on curve. If you know that you're not dead to anything, you actually don't want to play Reno on curve. You actually want to play the Emperor instead, or something else. Maybe he decides that Earthen Ring Peddler Mistress of Mixtures is better. I do think that playing Reno on 6 when you don't have to is a mistake that a lot of players make. It looks like Rosti is actually going to make the better choice here, in my opinion. He's going to go ahead and play the Earth Ring and the Mistress of Mixtures, and this means that he can be a little bit greedier with Reno, force Hotmeow to make some difficult decisions. Like, how much do I want to go face? Because if he commits everything to the face, right, doesn't have the reach, then Reno is an instant win. Versus if you play the Reno on 6 immediately, your heal value is lower than it would be in some other cases, and also you give your opponent the information like you've already Reno'd, so now they can make better plays given that information.
I agree. I mean, it's much better play. Plus, there's like literally almost no way of the enemy shaman killing you. Maybe something like double Lava Burst and South Sea Deckhand, some crazy stuff.
Yeah, so double Lava Burst South Sea Deckhand is actually like pretty much the exact. Well, also double Lava Burst Bolt. So there's like two very rare situations that he dies there.
Yeah.
But definitely not worth playing around. So Hotmouth only had 3 cards in hand, right? So you basically need an exact 3-card combination, and you probably don't want to play around exact 3 combination. Now, the Reno gets a little bit better.
I think maybe because you have Mistress of Mixtures, you could consider not to Reno, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty good. Maybe something like Mistress and Elven Archer could work, but yeah, never mind. I mean, Reno is pretty good now.
Yeah, exactly. And now at this point, again, because Rosti delayed Reno by 1 turn, I think he's in a position where he never loses.
It's unlikely. Maybe if Hotmouth just drew Aya, but even then, no. There's no way.
Yeah, Aya is definitely not enough. His Jades aren't even big enough yet, yeah.
True. Rosti's, and he has an amazing turn 8 too, Ragnaros. Yeah, I think that's game. We are gonna go again to game 5.
Yeah.
Let's see. So
yeah,
Jade Light.
He's gonna have to Jade Lightning the Reno here, which is pretty sad. Like the thing is, if you Jade Lightning face, you're never gonna have enough burn to actually kill your opponent. But the thing is, also if you Jade Lightning the Reno, you also never get the board control. So either way he does it, he's definitely just doesn't have a chance to win here.
Yeah, maybe right now you just concede, I guess. I mean that. Yeah. GG.
All right, so Rosti playing that matchup pretty well. I mean, he could have Renoed on. I think a lot of players will make the mistake of Renoing on 6. He decides to not Reno on 6, plays the other stuff. Reno's on turn 7, and that way he gets an almost guaranteed win. Yeah, really well played. Now it's going to go to game 5, and Hotmouth. Well, actually, so there's only one matchup left, so nobody actually gets to choose the matchup. There's only one matchup left.
And the matchup we talked on the start. It's Warlock versus Rogue.
Oh, okay, yeah, Warlock versus Rogue. So that means that Hotmouth is actually statistically, matchup-wise, in a favorable position to win the series.
Let's see. Warlock versus Rogue. Yeah, there it is. The matchup we talked on the start. Do you ban this matchup? Do you let it? And okay, pretty good hand for Rosti. I mean, every time you get an in-gank boss in your starting hand, you can consider yourself lucky.
Well, actually, I kind of disagree with this. I think playing Imp Gang on turn 3, especially going first in this matchup, is actually not very good. In fact, I think optimal play is you want to tap and get a Drake and Giant and not play around them having a sap, and then have the Drake and Giant or Giant on turn 4 carry you to victory. I think that's usually better, and also Imp Gang is a good response to if they have an early Buccaneer Howard. So it's actually probably fine, but I still think that Doomsayer is actually a better choice if you're trying to answer that.
Yeah. Okay. I like your perspective too. I like Imp Gang boss a lot against pirates in general. It's like it lets you buy. It buys you a lot of time. But against
Rogue, it's a little bit worse in my opinion. Because if you play the Imp Gang and they go coin pillager, they can just ignore it for like forever, then just keep hitting you for 5. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like Imp Gang that much. But he did pick up the Doomsayer. So the Doomsayer taking the tempo going into a game boss. This is a little bit better, but like I said, Hotmouth still has the coin pillager play, and the Imp Gang again doesn't do anything against the coin pillager.
Do you blast Crystal Potion instantly on the Tomb Pillager? Even if you set yourself? No, right?
No, you probably don't. Yeah, you just play Kazakus. If you
I agree. I mean, Kazakus to a 5 mana spell. Yeah, much better. Let's see. Oh, he's considering Blast Crystal. Let's see.
I think Blast Crystal should probably be saved for an Edwin. Kazakus is definitely a little bit more solid in this situation. So he has Sheep. Definitely the Sheep. The Sheep gives you an answer to Concealed Auctioneers. For sure. Deal 4 damage to all minions also gives you that as well.
Just take both. Just take both.
I probably
That's
would have
it.
taken Sheep and summoned 2 minions that died. Although if we could, I don't know, we can't see what he picked, but I probably would have gone for the Sheep and summon 2 minions. Looks like he went for. Oh, actually, summon a 5/5 demon is actually better than summon 2 minions. So actually, this even better.
Okay. No, definitely, because he might want to play it now, so he will get the 5/5 straight away.
Yeah, exactly. If he takes a summon 2 minions, right? If he takes a summon 2 minions, he's gonna summon a Doomsayer, and that's actually not very good. So scratch that. Summon the 5/5 demon is just strictly better.
But it makes sense to just pick up quickly, summon 2 minions, because you just play ladder and you're like, summon 2 minions, that's great, and then you forgot you have played Doomsayer, and it totally ruins everything.
But I actually,
Okay.
The Kazakus potion is not very good here anymore, right? I think he should just play the Drake. Rosty's in an okay position. He does have an Abyssal into if he can get to Ragnaros comfortably, I think he's in a really good spot. He has a decision between Azure or Twilight Drake and Kazakus potion. So I'm gonna have to play the Kazakus potion because I don't think. So the thing is, he gets a 5/5 into a 1/5. Right? I don't think he minds either one getting polymorphed. I mean, it's a little bit better for him that the Pillager got polymorphed because it also denies a coin too, and he gets a 5/5 versus a 1/5. So actually, this play worked out really, really well for Rosty. I like that.
Yeah, it worked definitely, and maybe Rosty thinks that in this matchup I'm behind anyway. I've got to do the risky play, and I agree. Polymorphing Tomb Pillager was much better.
Mm-hmm. So now, interesting decision here too because tap Drake isn't great. So there's this interesting option where you just Hellfire here to set up the Abyssal next turn, and then you go into Rack. So you go Hellfire, pass, so you don't even tap here because you don't really need to. Well, I mean, maybe you do tap if you're going to do it. Tap Drake is also reasonable, but there's also, again, the Hellfire and to set up for the Abyssal. It kind of, the thing is, if you just naked Hellfire there, it broadcasts that you're going to play the Abyssal next turn, so maybe he doesn't want to make it too obvious because it makes it way too easy for Hot Meowth to play around, so I kind of think this is reasonable as well.
I agree. I think I would have went with the Hellfire option, but I like that play as well at a 4/7.
Yeah, exactly. 4/7 is enough board contention. However, it does play into situations like this where, yeah.
That's the only problem with this play. I think Sap is too strong against it.
Yeah, and now Hot Meowth's on the aggression. Hot Meowth has an amazing board that pretty much can't be dealt with. Like Rosty looks like he's just gonna have to play the Mistress and Hellfire it just to take the heal. He's gonna Mistress, Hellfire, Mortal Coil, the Drake probably, and then he's still able to play the Abyssal next turn. So this turn he's not dead, but he will take another at least 8 or 9 damage, and things are a little bit scary.
Yeah, it seems like, oh my god, that draw.
Yeah, so 10 damage coming out from Hot Meowth now. Hot Meowth representing lethal, and Rosty, can't deal with the entire board. Even if he plays Abyssal,
Reno?
He's not going to kill the Drake.
That's game.
Yeah, I think that's game.
Reno, only
snap tap, try to get Reno, doesn't pick it up.
Yep, and that's game. Wow. Yeah, nice series.
Yeah, nice series. Hot Meowth on the favored matchup at the end there was able to pull it out. Well played by Hot Meowth. But again, we did talk about the Imp Gang in the early game, right? The Imp Gang really, really did not have a very high impact at all. It had a very, very low impact, which is typically why I don't value it in the Rogue matchup as much. I try to hard mulligan for Doomsayer and Drake Giant. But Hot Meowth definitely had the early pressure. Had the councilman. That councilman was actually pretty impactful, I gotta say. That councilman was pretty good.
True, I agree. And 2 key points. I think the Kazakus potion turn, where you either go Twilight Drake or Kazakus potion. And the next key play was probably do you Hellfire and set up an Abyssal Enforcer? Even though your opponent knows you have an Abyssal Enforcer, do you still have to do it anyway because you are in this situation?
Definitely interesting considerations. Also on the Kazakus potion, I guess he could have also made the choice to take the AoE. The 4 damage AoE would have been a reasonable. choice as well, even though you already took the polymorph. But it's hard to say because he took the 5/5, right? It just got prep eviscerated. It didn't do anything. Yeah, really, really hard matchup from both sides actually. It's actually a little bit again Rogue's favorite, so it's a little bit easier for Rogue. But Hotmouth, definitely deserved that win. Goes on to the finals. Will face Death Star. So we are going to have Hotmouth versus Death Star in the finals, and this is actually a matchup that we've seen a couple of times. It's like the third time in these GamerSensei tournaments where they're facing each other, and man, I think Hotmouth's actually on the losing end of the encounters. So.
Yes.
We'll see if he can pull it out this time.
I think
I really like his lineup, so I he's got good chances, I would say. But all right, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think they have played twice on Wednesday 100. The last time it was the same final, Death Star against Hotmouth. They have played on energy qualifiers as well. Yeah. They have played a lot against each other, and it's time for Hotmouth to win. It's time for him to.
He's definitely got vengeance on his mind for sure. But we are going to take a quick little break before we go into the finals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, Hearthstone fans, and welcome back to the GamerSensei Weekly Wednesday 100 Exhibition Tournament. We just saw an amazing series between Rossi and Hotmeowth. Went to Game 5. Hotmeowth ended up taking the final game, Rogue versus Renolock, and he's going to be facing off his nemesis, Death Star, in the finals. And again, this is a match that I'm really, really excited for because, you know, Hotmeowth's out for vengeance. He's lost to Death Star every time, and he definitely wants to win this one.
And let's say right now that we have seen like 2 games with this format. What's your opinion? I really like it.
Yeah, it's a good format for sure. It can be a little bit confusing to follow. Fortunately, we actually have good graphics that show the bands. But at the same time, I still have a little bit trouble from a casting perspective. Also, I guess and I can kind of put myself in the viewer's shoes too. It's maybe a little bit too much to digest at some points, but at the same time, it does encourage a little bit more skill, a little bit more planning, in terms of lineup and bands. So, as a player, I like it, but again, I don't know how. I'm interested to see if it becomes an official Blizzard endorsed format.
Do you think it will?
I don't know. Blizzard likes to keep things simple. That's what Blizzard really loves Conquest because it's really, really simple, and it gets to showcase all the decks, right? They switched from Last Hero Standing to Conquest. Last Hero Standing is actually one of my favorite formats, but Conquest is definitely a lot better for the viewers. It's very simple to understand as well. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Mm-hmm. Let's see the bands. I think there they are. Mm.
So Death Star versus Hotmeowth. Now Death Star not bringing the Rogue. Hotmeowth has that Rogue. Look, it's kind of funny because look at what happened here. This time around, it looks like Death Star is going to ban the Renolock versus Rogue matchup.
Interesting.
So
wow.
What I imagine for the bans are Death Star banned Renolock versus Rogue. That's an unfavored matchup, and he also banned Reno Mage versus Druid because Reno Mage. Actually, Reno Mage has a really good matchup across the board, but its main weakness is Druid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty reasonable bans from Death Star. I would totally ban the same things. And for Hotmeowth, he banned Shaman against Rogue, which makes sense, right?
Yeah, and Rogue doesn't want to play against Aggro Shaman.
Mm-hmm. And his Shaman against Mage. A Shaman doesn't want to play against Reno Mage.
Yeah, Reno Mage definitely has a lot of tools that are good against aggro, so very reasonable ban there as well. And we are going to jump into game number 1 here. They are going to be playing Renolock versus Druid. And yeah, like I said, Druid, I like the fact that Hotmeowth brought Druid. Druid was a class that did really well against Death Star's lineup. So Death Star decided to ban the Reno Mage versus Druid, but the Renolock versus Druid is still a pretty tough matchup from the Renolock's perspective, and Hotmeowth should have an advantage here. Although Hotmeowth's hand is honestly a little bit disappointing.
2 Raven Idols. I think that most players have dropped 1 right now, or even 2.
Well, I personally, I mean, there's a couple of lists out there. Looks like Hotmeowth is playing more of a traditional. He's probably playing like Mali Aviana Kun, but a little bit more traditional. He actually is running idols because I imagine this is my opinion of the best list is Tic Tac's list, and Tic Tac's basically doesn't run Moonfires, runs Raven Isles instead because they give you a lot of options for gas. Because again, being able to discover is actually huge. Because if you have an Aviana on board, discovering a minion, the biggest minion you can, you just play a 1-mana big guy. Otherwise, you can actually discover Moonfires from the idols when you need them, or if you need card draw, you discover a Nourish or a Lunar Vision or something. So definitely a lot more versatile. I think idol is one of the cards that you can't cut.
Oh, and actually, I'm really hyped for this. We have Hotmeowth with 2 pieces of the puzzle already on the hand, Aviana and Kun, and Death Star with Dirty Red. So it's really interesting. We might see a Dirty Red pulling out Aviana or Kun.
Yeah, but the thing is, Death Star can't do that immediately because, obvious reasons. He needs to wait for the opportunity where he can actually deal with it immediately, right? So he doesn't just want to pull out the minion and not be like if he pulls out Aviana and can't deal with it, then it's like pretty bad. But
How about
wow. Hot Meow's got an amazing turn here. He's gonna nourish for cards. He's gonna get everything reduced again.
how about Bran Dirty Rat right now? Because you have Mountain Giant out.
But the thing is, the Mountain Giant wants to kill Thorson, though. So it's the Mountain Giant wants to kill Thorson, so that's probably not a good idea. Looks like Death Star is actually this is a really, really good play by Death Star. He's gonna go ahead and play the Bran and heal his Mountain Giant twice, so now his 8/8 is full health after trading with Thorson. So Hot Meowth got a card advantage from nourishing and getting everything reduced, but at the same time, Death Star here has a tempo advantage. He's got that Giant that he just healed to full, has a Brand on board, got a lot of stats on board. Hot Meowth definitely playing from behind at this point.
Wow, really interesting game, and I really like this move too. I mean, you heal up your Mountain Giant for 6. It's an 8/8 again, ready to trade something. Pretty good move. And again, Druids have problem dealing with big stuff. Mm-hmm. Unless you run a mulch, you have a lot of problems dealing with a Mountain Giant.
Yeah, the list typically do run mulch. Looks like Hot Meowth's gonna. He had the option of wrathing the Brand for 4. He also had the option of Pharaoh Raging it down because Pharaoh Rage costs 1 mana at this point. But he decided to go ahead with the Wild Growth. Looks like he wants to go for a huge Aviana mount. Couldn't turn next turn because next turn Aviana costs 7, so he can play Aviana. Couldn't refresh his 8 mana crystals and then have a crazy tempo turn. So I kind of like Hot Meowth's decision to go for the Wild Growth there. But wow. Death Star. Because he was able to keep the Giant alive, insane amount of pressure. That Giant is a 10/10 now. Like, wow.
We see an Aviana turn on turn 7, turn 8.
But here we go. Like this is what Hot Meowth was looking for. And if he pulls off a Malagos from his barns, looks like it's not going to be a Malagos. But that's like Auctioneer, which is equally as good because look at this. This turn is going to be insane. Oh my God, this turn is going to be insane. He's got another gadget too that he gets to play it for 1 mana. He gets 2 more gadgets. Oh my lord!
What is happening?
This is the deck at its finest. You know, this is what this deck is designed to do. And the fact that Death Star allowed the Emperor to live 2 turns gives Hot Meowth this ability, and it's actually wow. It looks like Hot Meowth's list is really interesting to me. He runs 2 Idols and 2 Moonfires in this list. He pulls Malagos. He should just play. Dude, this is lethal. This is just really just lethal. This is lethal. This is just lethal. Oh my God.
What the oh my God.
Oh my God. What a game. Look at Hot Meowth's reaction. What a game. What a game. This is just oh man. Oh.
I see. Oh my God.
He just drew his entire deck. He just drew his entire deck.
Oh my God. There's no way that's happening. Oh my God. I'm seeing Hot Meowth getting crazy on the. What the?
Yeah. Draw your entire deck. By turn 6, you get first of all 9 mana. Draw your entire deck by turn 6. Kill him. Wow. I mean that is why Mali Kundruid is honestly one of my favorite decks at the moment. It's actually the deck that I've been playing a lot. Actually, I peaked at rank 6 Legend with it like 2 days ago. That deck can do some serious work, as you just saw there.
Wow, and that was like. The Faceless Summoner to Mana Tide, nothing beats that. But there it is. Draw your deck on turn 8, guys. No, turn 7. He used Wild Growth.
Yeah, I mean, we had like 2 really, really clip-worthy games so far today. That was that was amazing.
I mean, 2 Moonfires, 2 Raven Idols, 2 living. Oh my God, that's a deck that's so centered around Malagos, right? Really? Wow.
Yeah. And because he also runs 2 Gadget Zans too. I typically only play that list with 1 Gadget Zan, but he plays it with 2 Gadget Zans. Man, that list is made to beat control. That's all I have to say. That list is made to cycle your entire deck and beat control decks, and just kill them.
Yeah. Wow. Good job to Hot Meowth. I mean.
Off to a really good start in the series. I mean, we talked about how he has a losing record against Death Star, but putting himself 1-up in the series. Really good spot for him. Death Star's going to be able to choose the second matchup, though.
Yeah, and I really want this list right now. I'm gonna ask Hotmail for the list. I mean, come on, it's crazy. I mean, I can understand he runs 2 Gazette and 2 Raven Idols, a really good deck to punish control decks. But wow, amazing.
No, he did. He did draw his entire deck. So if you go back to the replay, you will be able to see every card. But our next matchup is actually going to be Rogue versus Mage. So Hotmouth on the Rogue. Looks like. Death Star decided to pick the Reno Mage versus Rogue here.
Yeah, and he's going pretty good with the Reno Mage, right? I think he hasn't lost a game.
The Reno Mage has been performing pretty well for Death Star. Hotmouth, though, with the Rogue. The thing is, I do like Rogue's chances in this matchup. He does have a really good hand, too. So he's got coin backstab Edwin on turn 2 if he wants to.
All right. Even prepping something if he has to, but no, it's too much, I guess. Let's see.
Because you don't really want to give your opponent like a really good polymorph. Although the polymorph won't happen for another 2 turns, but it's still definitely. And this is actually just insane. So Death Star plays the Apprentice, which gives a much better backstab target. I don't see a world where he doesn't just backstab Coin Edwin. I mean, maybe he daggers and backstabs. He's gonna save it.
He's gonna save it.
Oh no! I see what he's doing.
He has Swashbuckler.
Yeah, he's gonna play Swashbuckler, backstab, Coin Edwin next turn. That's what he's gonna do.
But Spellbender, he didn't account for that.
That's true.
Now backstab doesn't kill Sorcerer.
That is true. So now...
Oh, you still have patches. You still have patches on your weapon. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Patches plus weapon. Yeah, so it's not even that bad. But yeah, this Edwin is going to be an 8/8 here.
Wow. There it is.
Yeah. So again, Spellbender is going to eat it, but again, it's not a huge deal. Patches and Edwin are still going to deal with the Apprentice. So he definitely has to kill the Apprentice, otherwise... every spell is going to be cheap. But yeah, Death Star, if he has a polymorph here, he'd be in a really okay position, but he doesn't have the polymorph. This Doomsayer basically dies to the Edwin on board. So now Death Star's got a really, really awkward turn. I guess he can play the Ice Block and just trade the 1/1.
Yeah, and play for a Kabbalist Tome next turn. I think it's okay. Oh,
but I guess playing the Doomsayer is okay.
It's okay.
Playing Doomsayer heals you for 8.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Do you, in any ward against Rogue, do you wait for Frost Nova? I mean, probably not, right? You only run one.
I don't even know if Death Star is running Frost Nova, because a lot of Reno Mages don't actually run Frost Nova because it doesn't actually do anything. Like, I mean, it does something. Like, the card does something, but it's a very low value card in the matchup. It's not like Freeze Mage where you value having a lot of freezes.
True, I agree. But right now, I mean, Kabbalist Tome gave an Ice Barrier, which should be okay. Maybe Mirror Entity is interesting, but probably won't see much value right now. Cone of Cold could be really good. I think I like the Cone of Cold one. It buys you a turn.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely stalls Hotmouth a little bit. And the rest of Hotmouth's hand is looking like... Well, actually, Hotmouth does run SI. Hotmouth apparently runs both Questings and SIs in the same deck, which is not something that I see a lot of. Usually it's one or the other, but he's running both.
Maybe one SI, probably. Not sure.
Wow.
Nice pickup again.
Actually going to prep out a Conceal here. Wow, this plays around the Conical. Wait, no. He's playing this. What does this do? This.
He got the Frost Nova. He plays a Frost Nova.
Entity Nova, yeah. Definitely a good counter to the Conceal here. So now the Conceal doesn't actually accomplish anything. And so Hotmouth, it's hard to say here.
In Commander, Cone of Cold is huge.
Definitely. I wonder if he gives the he's gonna ignore. Was that a mistake?
Oh It was a mistake.
Oh no, it looks like he's just gonna shiv it. No, it's probably fine. No, yeah, no. Okay, yeah, the shiv. Okay, no mistake there. All planned.
Ink Master Cone of Cold, or no?
Yeah,
Or Ink Master.
I wonder if Hotmouth considered a Cone of Cold positioning, right? Because Cone of Cold positioning means that he should have played the Buccaneer in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Probably not.
Or like not necessarily. So the Cone of Cold positioning would have meant that the Drake should be on the opposite side from the Edwin. They shouldn't be together. But who plays around Cone of Cold anyway?
True, because it's never used in any Reno deck, Reno list. But maybe because he saw Kabbalist Tome, he could have thought about it. But yeah, of course, no one plays around. Let's see. And another book and it comes out. Wow. He has Ice Block. I mean, with Ice Block, the moment you get Reno, you feel good. But the problem is how you deal with that board.
Yeah, Death Star, like, he basically needs a what? He needs Blizzard into Flame Strike, and doesn't look like he has that option now. So, yeah, I mean, this looks like a very clean win for the Rogue here most of the time. That 8/8 Edwin really doing work.
Because if you use Firelands Portal, it's lethal. Yeah, he didn't go for Firelands Portal. He's correct. Unless you get a taunt, yeah, it's lethal.
Block Barrier is definitely the safer play that keeps you alive. And I guess he just tries to buy time for his Antonidas, right? He doesn't get popped this turn. He plays Antonidas Arcane Explosion, and then his Archmage has to like stay alive. But his Archmage never stays alive, so I really don't see how Death Star wins here.
I don't know. Again, Blizzard Flame Strike. That's a dream.
So yeah, Blizzard. So he draws a Blizzard and then draws a Flame Strike immediately afterwards.
That could be the winning point. Let's see. Or yeah, that's about it. No, I can't think of anything else.
Hotmail's actually just gonna go for the pop here. He's gonna go for the Leroy Cold Blood.
Yeah, and then prep Dragon's Breath.
Wait, he can't do that because there's not enough mana to prep out the Dragon's Breath.
Oh, no, he can kill with his dagger. He can kill out a 1/1.
Yeah, but then you still can't prep it out though.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Small miscalculation here.
That wasn't miss. No, he still has. Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, no. His Buccaneer hasn't attacked yet. Never mind. Buccaneer has not attacked yet. That is a pop. That is definitely a pop.
Yeah, that's
caster math, guys, caster math.
No, I baited you on this. Sorry.
I got bait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This volcanic potion is actually really good though. This volcanic potion clears the entire board, but it doesn't matter, right? So actually, Hotmouth popping at 1 there, really good play there, because that's gonna allow him to just win with a dagger.
Oh yeah. He couldn't use Firelands Portal for him.
Yeah, it's like Death Star notices this and he's gonna ping his own face. Anyway, caster math, guys. Damn.
It was so crazy, like how he blew out the Dragon's Breath, and he was like, "I don't even need Dragon's Breath, guys. What the fuck?"
Didn't account for the fact that Buccaneer hadn't attacked yet. But anyway, yeah, very well played there. Hotmouth putting himself at a 2-0 advantage, so definitely seeking his vengeance here, and he's on match point.
2-0. And let's see what Death Star. Oh, I just saw it. Shaman versus Druid.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a matchup that's good for him, right? Shaman naturally favored against Druid. He's got to have to reverse sweep here, and he's going to go for one of the favored matchups first.
And we saw Hotmouth's version. I think his version is really good against control. And it's probably weak against aggro. We will see, though. A Kun list, if it draws perfectly, you can win anything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm excited to see. Who takes this one home because again, Hotmouth really thirsty for a win against Death Star at the moment.
And probably a bit hungry too because I just saw him eating something.
It's dinner time for a lot of people in the United States right now, so. I'm actually a little bit hungry myself. I actually had a snack during our last break.
Oh, I didn't. In Greece right now, it's 4 in the morning. We're gonna
Oh.
see sun. I'm gonna see the sun come out soon. Let's see. So he has a wild growth, which is good.
Yeah, good for
He has a
Hotmouth.
wrath.
But Death Star is going to be able to play Trog and Coin Buccaneer, and this is going to be quite insane because he has two options. He can go Flame Tongue or Totem Golem.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he'll probably go Totem Golem first. He'll buff up the Trog. It'll overload him so that he has 2 mana exactly to play Flame Tongue on turn 3. Just better for mana curve in general.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But right now, when you're the druid and you see that opening, it's probably your worst nightmare, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Definitely.
Wow, good draw there.
Yeah, I mean, he probably doesn't want to use that immediately. He's probably just going to swipe here. He's going to save the Innervate for the Auctioneer almost 100%.
Wow. And Death Star is keep pushing.
Yeah.
A lot of damage.
Ooh, 2 Innervates. So Hotmail's got an interesting turn here. I imagine he'll just Wrath and use Pharaoh. He doesn't have to use the Pharaoh Rage. Okay, so I was thinking about maybe using the Pharaoh Rage here, but he just Wraths the Flame Tongue, Hero Powers the Buccaneer, and then he'll go Auctioneer, Innervate, see what happens.
Mm-hmm. I like the play. I think it's pretty good. Let's see.
Ooh, Fandral.
Okay. Oh, gosh. I like both hands. I'm just thinking. Because right now, the Innervates are amazing.
Yeah. These Innervates are going to cycle for more cards. He finds the Kun, which, if he can get to it, it's going to be really good. The Pharaoh Rage now doesn't actually do anything. So at this point, what do you do with the Pharaoh Rage? Do you just use it for armor? Do you save it for next turn so you can go Fandral Pharaoh Rage? It's...
Wow.
he's going to heal here.
You have to use it for armor. You're a list that you run 2 Living Roots, 2 Raven Idols. You run a lot of... I mean, the Raven Idols especially. I think he hard mulliganed for a Raven Idol. He didn't get one. It was a bit unlucky.
Ooh, this is the really good Moonfire draw. Now you can go Emperor Moonfire. If he didn't draw that Moonfire, he might have had to go Fandral Hero Power, but this Emperor Moonfire, definitely going to be huge here. Going to get him to the Kun and the Malygos much, much faster.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if he didn't draw Moonfire, that could have been game. But right now, yeah, he plays Thorizan. He really wanted to play Thorizan to enable his combo a bit earlier. If he draws Aviana, he still needs Aviana right now.
Well, I don't think he'll be playing Aviana because Aviana will still be 9. I imagine he'll just play the Malygos here because Fandrel's a little bit too weak. It's like Fandrel, Blood Mage is a little too weak. You pretty much never hold for the combo here. You just slam the Malygos and hope the top deck swipe.
He has 12 damage. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the thing is that you have to make this play. There's no other play.
Yeah, you have to. You're right. Do you Aya or do you go Milestone for just a charge?
I probably just play the Aya here, go all face. But at the same time, it depends. Like, the thing is, how likely is it for your opponent to have a swipe? And even if they do have a swipe, you got a lot of top decks too. So, the thing is, like, this is just the best turn to play Aya. This is the last opportunity you're gonna have to play the Aya probably because it's such a slow card.
I agree.
You play Aya, put your opponent to 1. And then Hotmouth obviously has a Kun, can heal for 10.
Yep, there it is.
All right.
Let's see. What's the win condition right now for a Malygos? What card save you?
Not sure if there is any individual card that saves him. Malygos gaining 10 isn't even enough. Or sorry, Kun gaining 10 right now isn't even enough.
Yeah.
And Hotmouth recognizes this and just concedes. So full out aggression by Death Star there, going to pay off. Again, it's a favored matchup for Death Star, so not really surprised to see him take it so easily. Hotmouth still ahead 2-1 in the series, but Death Star slowly climbing back.
Maybe Death Star will win again. I mean, he has the heart of the champion right now.
Yeah, definitely, he's the defending champion. And again, he's not out of it yet. It's not too uncommon to win 3 games of Hearthstone in a row. It's hard, but it's not that uncommon. But against a player of Hotmouth's caliber, I think Hotmouth, again, he's got vengeance on his mind as well. Both of these players really want that $100.
I just saw the matchup. It's Shaman versus Warlock.
Oh, Shaman versus Warlock? Okay.
It's reasonable, right?
Well, I think it's slightly Shaman favored. But the Reno Lock obviously has really good chances. I mean, the Reno Lock needs to have AoE, needs to have Reno. If they have AoE and they have Reno, they typically win. If they don't, they lose. I mean, it really just comes down to how well the Reno Lock draws most of the time. But I do like Hotmouth chances.
I agree. Yeah, let's see. And I really like Hotmouth's chances too. Depending on the opening hand, maybe if we see a Doomsayer, it's pretty good in this matchup. Let's see. But Hotmouth's hand is pretty good as well. You have Unitro, you have the Flame Tongue, you have Deckhand, and Feral Spirit. I think Hotmouth kept his whole hand, actually.
This is a really, really good hand from Hotmouth. Basically, Flame Tongue, if you have a Flame Tongue and your opponent doesn't have an answer to the Flame Tongue pretty much almost just wins you the game, because Flame Tongue is basically a 2-mana 4-attack charge, right? And I think Hotmouth's making the right play here. He's going to go ahead and play the Trog, coin out the deckhand. I think some players might consider not coining out the deckhand and going for the coin ferals, but I think this is always better. You just want to go coin 1/1 into the Flame Tongue, and you pretty much win a majority of the time if your opponent doesn't have an answer. And Death Star is actually running. We know that Death Star likes to run these weird, interesting tech cards like the Brewmaster. Very greedy card. Definitely wants to probably beat control. I guess using it on your Reno is really, really good against aggro too. So maybe with both control and aggro in mind that he chooses to run it. But here we see the Flame Tongue again. So much pressure. Death Star does have the Shadow Bolt though, so he's not out of the wood. Hotmouth's not going to run away with the game yet, but he is going to be able to just play the Feral Spirits on curve. And again, Hotmouth needs to basically not respect the Hellfire here. Again, basically, look, they only have one of each card. If they have the one of Hellfire, you just take the loss. If they don't, you win a majority of the time. So definitely a right play by Hotmouth.
Wait, is he considering the Twilight Drake instead of the what?
Well, the thing is, he wants to probably get Shambler value. If you play, if you play the Bruiser, you're probably going to lose a majority of the time anyway. I don't really want to overanalyze that spot too much because I think Death Star loses either way. Like this game came down to whether or not Death Star had a Hellfire on turn 4. He didn't. Hotmouth took the aggressive line, paid off, and will become our champion this week for the Wednesday 100.
Good job to Hotmouth. I think he, in my mind, after seeing every game, I think he was the best. I'm sorry for the other guys. I think he was the Kun match, right? I mean, amazing. He got it in time. I mean, most of people would have roped out. He got it in time, and he drew his whole deck. Even the deck, to bring that deck in a tournament, in my opinion, respect to Hotmouth. Good job on winning and getting the revenge you said.
Well, I want to say that, you're right. He is. I think he did play the best tonight. I saw very, very. I don't even know if I even saw a mistake from him. Maybe a couple situations where like play style influences like which decision you take, but no clear mistakes. Just very solid play throughout, and definitely deserving of this win here.
Yeah,
and we're actually going to have him on for an interview here, so we'll be able to kind of hear about his thought process as well as his feelings about winning this week. And
I'm really excited to talk a bit about this Druid deck, to talk about a lot of decisions. I mean, what I liked about Hotmouth's play today is, remember when we said backstab coin, Van Cleef is pretty good, there's no way he won't do it. and he simply went hero power because he could go for burglar the next turn. I think that Hotmouth just thought about everything. He was really thinking about every move and didn't take quick steps, quick directions. And good for him. And I'm really glad we have a new champion in our tournament. Oh,
Yeah,
there he is. He joined our Skype.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Hot Meowth? First of all, congratulations on winning. I know you've wanted to get redemption against Death Star, and how do you feel?
Yeah, it feels good to finally beat him in the GamerSensei tournaments. It was some fun matches against Rossi and Death Star. Both were pretty close. Like most of the games were draw dependent. I'm just glad I pulled that like Shrewd versus Real block combo. I felt like there was like not much time. I was like just dragging all the burn spells to his hands.
No, my favorite decision from that game actually is like, so you played the Drake, right? You had a 1-mana Wrath, a 1-mana Pharaoh Rage, and the 1-mana Wild Growth. Instead of playing the Wrath or the Pharaoh Rage on the Bran, you went for the Wild Growth so that you could go off next turn with the Aviana, and that was a really, really good decision that you made there.
Yeah, I tend to like taking a risk there because if I play with the passive play, like I think if I play safe and clear Bran, like I think I have less chances.
Right.
I'd rather just go for a high row.
Yeah, I mean, you went for it, and it paid off because like the Barnes, right, pulled out another Auctioneer. You're able to draw your entire deck. Actually, I want to ask you about the deck. So, there's like a lot of different variations of Aviana Malikun. Most of them run one Auctioneer, and they run maybe some more defensive cards like War, Drew the Claw. You actually don't run any. You run a Barnes and you run 2 gadgets. So I imagine you are teching basically entirely against control.
I think just overall better. I think I tested a lot, and I think I tested enough to justify that. I think 2 Auctioneers is just better than 1 because of how the deck works. And like, there's like Tech Tac who made. Did he made a new one? But I see people wanting like Colite Oracles, Extrazas, and Jade Idol and sell them. I just feel like it's not needed for like that extra thing. I think just like you want to draw more cards so you can get a combo faster.
Yeah, I can definitely see the reasoning behind 2 Auctioneers, but I mean, what's your overall opinion about like taunts? Like, you think that this list is still really good against aggro even without like wars and stuff?
The wars are really good with the Kun and stuff, but I think for a combo deck, like 2 Auctioneers just makes the deck faster, and making the deck faster combats like the aggro decks overall better too, because you can ramp up more because you have 2 Auctioneers and you tend to draw 1. And then the Blood Mage and Barnes is there for like the Barnes synergy, and like Blood Mage like helps the Moonfire to be less dead. So I don't know. I found that deck from like a Japanese guy called Taka. Like he got like top 10 on the Chinese Asia server with it. So
Gotcha.
I just looked at it and like it's pretty good. And I saw a lot of people like playing 2 Auctioneers now in the modules. I think for the most part wars are good, but like it's really hard to cut cards. I think two Auctioneers been working well for me because
that definitely makes a lot of sense, and I do like the reasoning behind it. Like you said, as a combo deck, right, you want more draw versus not as much draw. So I think the reasoning that you gave was really, really good. I think I might try it myself. I am a huge fan of Malikun Druid. I've been playing Tic Tac's list myself.
Yeah,
it's a little bit
playing Tic Tac's list like the first like till like today. I mean yesterday, but yeah, I think my Drew is gonna be really good. Like even though like some people say it's slower, because I mean it's still like first month, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, what do you think about the Barnes, right? Because the Barnes, so like War is obviously anti-synergistic with Barnes. If you run Barnes, having 2 gadgets, having the Aviana, it doesn't really get anything off of Kun, but basically everything else, like Barnes is really, really good.
Yeah, basically like you can get Aviana, you can get Maligos, like there are a lot of good outcomes, but I think the 2 Auctioneers just like it's also because like the like the Aviana into because like you need your burn pieces with Maligos to combo with, right? But like if you Aviana Kun and if you don't need any other combo cards, you just need Auctioneer and like a few spells and like Aviana Kun Auctioneer, like basically it's just a 3-card combo. The other like instead of like waiting for like burn spells and like ghosts.
Exactly. Well, I mean, wait. Do you run Mire Keepers?
No, Malakers. I think it's kind of bad now.
Right,
I don't like it. I used to be a really big fan of it with the Yasiraj, like when Arcane Giants was a thing, but I don't like it in the new build.
Yeah,
because I like running Barnes. Well,
yeah,
it's fine, but like if you run Barnes, you can't run it. I think.
Exactly. All right, FKI, do you have any? What questions do you have for him?
Gosh, what questions do I have? Gosh, how did you even manage to get it right and you didn't rope yourself? I was pretty sure when I saw the second Gazetton, you're gonna rope out, but you had it. I mean, was it in your mind that if you draw 3 Moonfires, it's lethal with Living Growths on 0 mana? You had that in your mind?
I know the damage, like Moonfire Roots is, what's that? 19, right? And Roots Moonfire is 21. So he's around that health, but actually, I was panicking. I saw the Smiley Ghost. I was like, okay, all my spells are 0 mana. I just need to jam the Smiley Ghost down and just throw all the burn spells to him. I know I got 4 or 5 burn spells in my hand already. So I was like, I need to get all the sequence done because it was roping. So that was in my mind.
I guess the shortcut to thinking there is just like, if I draw my entire deck, I have lethal. Like, that's pretty much all you need to know, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's more of the honest answer there.
Yeah, because you didn't seem to be panicking. You're like, okay, I'm just dropping Gazettons and just winning the game, guys. I mean, but yeah, you're right. If you draw your whole deck, it's lethal. It's made sense. It's
because I didn't know the auctioneer kept drawing. I don't know, like if all the animation goes off.
Yeah, the animation can take a long time sometimes.
Yeah, it's like old patron, right? Like the old patron with the Warsong Commander, patron, and frothing. Like you don't know if you could like pull that off. So it's kind of, I like this deck. It's kind of like old patron in a way that it's kind of like that kind of style. Like have like a really big burst potential.
Well, it was great having you win this week. And don't forget, we are going to have this tournament every week. It's going to be the weekly Wednesday 100 every week. 4 GamerSensei coaches are going to be playing for a winner-take-all $100 prize pool. So don't forget to click that follow button to be here next week when Hotmouth comes back to defend his championship. And also, of course, all these amazing players coach on the GamerSensei platform. They all played amazing. If you want a coaching lesson with any of them, head over to GamerSensei.com and book them a lesson. Of course, you can also book myself or FK Shadow as well. We are definitely there to help you improve your game.
And Hotmouth, you will be here the next week, right? I mean, Death Star will be here for sure, and he's coming back with
get revenge on me. Yeah, hopefully I won't be busy next weekend. Yeah, okay, I'll for sure be there.
We're having this is like a WWE storyline or something.
Yeah,
it's not that bad.
But not that good. Yeah. Thanks for a tournament and everything.
Yeah, thank you for playing. All right, and that will wrap it up for the week. Hotmouth is our champion this week. Again, don't forget to tune in next week for another edition of Wednesday 100. I'm Astrogation.
Joined by FKI Shadow. Thanks, guys, for coming by. It was probably the funniest tournament we have with so many amazing moments, man. I mean, I'm really glad we had this tournament. Let's hope for the next week is going to be even better.
Yeah, all right. See you guys next week.
Good night.
Night.